All you organisms. I know I usually do the sort of like hello all you subatomic particles to atoms, atoms to molecules, molecules to macromolecules, macromolecules to organelle, all those organelles to cells, cells to tissues, tissues to organs, organs to organ systems to organism, organism to population that's currently watching this video. I typically do that. But I decided, fuck it. Why should I? I'm just gonna go full on in and just say hello. How are you all doing? Now, I know I've been gone for a very long time. It's not like anyone really missed me. Why would they? But I was just way too busy with chemistry, and I wanted to do the streamings like even like after the final exam, so I think, but I just felt like no, I just went no because I was so afraid of always being seen as though like this is never going to work. Like the thing about streaming gig, like, making that a job is that it's almost not going to work. Almost never. The very people who even try to basically what they call like a social media influencer. The thing about being that is, well, let's really be honest. It's almost you're almost up against many, 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 many. Just there's almost like infinite amount of people. How are you, a finite person, going to compete against infinity? Now, I know that's hyperbola because obviously there's not an infinite amount of people. There's a finite number. What I'm talking about is that how are you as an individual or even as a small team going to try to stand out among the crowd? That's one of the biggest questions you would have to ask yourself if you ever want to try to do this. And even those that try to do it are almost never going to make it. Hell, I'll even be honest. I don't even think I'm gonna be staying and doing this all the time. Even though like I've been trying, been even like applying to other jobs and also been thinking about doing this, even I know that eventually I'm going have to go right back to school because as I did say, I am a bio student and I actually am going into biology, specifically molecular and medical microbiology. So, what am I supposed to do? Just like forever stream while trying to go into STEM? Yeah, let's really be honest. You can't do that. It's almost impossible because as going into STEM is almost like a full-time job. I almost don't even see it as a part-time job. Like there's no part-time jobs in STEM, specifically in any, or at least the ones I'm trying to get into. The ones I actually want to get, the ones I'm more interested in while I'm working in a full-fledged lab. I can't do that part-time. You can maybe go say, well, why not just become like a TA or associate professor or at least like something that doesn't require your there's too much time, right? Well, even then, if I was to go into like that professor thing, that would still take me a very much long time and obviously a great financial cost. The US doesn't have a way of financially supporting STEM students. They do have FAFSA. I will admit that. But that's just not enough. And it only covers for a certain category of money. So if you are at a very specific margin, then you may get financial aid or at least some financial aid, if any financial aid. It all depends. And I'll be honest, I hate that system. I hate this idea in which it's only certain people should be able to get financial help. Basically, it's like it punishes those lower end echelon types of people who basically make enough just to get by, but not enough for education, basically. You can go say that, well, why not just go to a community college? They're much more cheaper. True. But again, my major is in STEM. And to get a, not just like a because the best that you can really get at a community college is an associate's degree. Maybe they have like a few bachelors if you're lucky to find any. But bachelors are more offered at school, upper graduate classes, right? They're more upper graduate classes that you need. Associates more or less give you kind of more the lower graduates, maybe some upper graduate. It depends. Like some would consider, like, to give you an example, what I mean by an upper graduate, I would say something like organic chemistry. That was one. Organic chemistry. Some say, like, organic chemistry. That's an upper graduate course. But some would say, like, that's a lower end, because if you as you try to go deeper into STEM, you have to go into, well, these like lower graduate, or basically like the lower divisions, like these lower division type courses. Am I? Are you talking? Oh, not voice chat. Uh, Not that okay. I'm talking about basically why I have been gone for such a very long time. I try to be here as often before, but I just couldn't do it because I was too busy with chemistry. I then tried to get back, and I just did not want to. But honestly, and I will say this, actually getting back to streaming and just talking about it feels nice. It's just like when you actually start to get the groove of it. On the first stream back. Sorry, I'm actually reading that. I'm trying to decipher. Anyway, but beside that, I've basically been trying to, I've been trying to deal with the situations that's been going on. Basically, what I've been trying to get at overall is that fucking hell, that scared the Jack. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. You followed me, and I was like, what the fuck? Holy oh god. I just heard a noise and I just like, well, okay. As I was trying to get at, Jesus Christ, fuck me. Not literally. Uh, I'm trying to get at is that it's not easy. It's not easy trying to be a student in the US when you try to go into STEM or even the humanities. Actually, it's even worse with the humanities. Let's be honest. If you wanted to go into something like a psychology major, a sociology major, especially maybe like ones like sociology or art, holy shit. If any of you, maybe you are an artist or you know an art friend, or maybe you even follow artists, and you know exactly just hearing them about how nightmarish it is to be an artist, that you are just undervalued, underappreciated. No one gives a fuck about you. Like they just almost just say that, well, what's the point? Especially with AI art. Now, that's a whole different discussion, and I don't want to get into that. But what I'm trying to get at is about how hard it is to actually be basically doing the very thing you love. But that's not what I'm trying to get at. What I'm talking about. No. Basically going to art is just underappreciated, especially that in colleges. Almost always feels like in colleges it's more of, well, colleges or universities or even just society. I think it's more societal. There's a more of a push towards going into STEM, which is understandable, because we went from more blue collar jobs to more white collar jobs. Like we went from basically mining coal to have a mechanical engineer mine the coal, right? Like now you just need an engineer who needs the usual people that we excuse me we usually see. What I'm talking about is again like coal mines to machinery. It's the same way with cars. Automation basically has destroyed many jobs, but also created many jobs. It also but there's basically there's not enough financial support in the system to help people go into the more service or rather STEM majors. Because especially if you're trying to go into like the more maybe you're trying to get like a bachelor's. And I'm not talking about trade schools. Like trade schools or even being in the military, you can at least actually get that. There's at least like more of a coverage there. But if you're just like trying, like you're just fresh out of high school person and you try to become an engineer, you almost have to pay out of pocket. Has anyone ever been to college? I really am actually just completely messy with keeping my thoughts together. I don't even know what I'm even trying to talk about. What am I talking about? Anyway, that's all beside the point. Right. Um, I'm basically just like trying to get at is that fact I've been gone because of chemistry, try to get back, didn't want to got lazy and decided, you know what? Let's get back into it. And that's why I'm back. And I am gonna do the conversation with strangers. Don't worry. I was rambling on about why I've been gone and went further rambling about how hard it is to become a streamer and basically go into basically being a student. Actually, in truth be told, and I want to go a bit further on that one. I don't think I'm gonna be staying here forever, as in like doing the stream gig for like the rest of my life. I don't see that. The possibility. Maybe I'll come up here and there. Maybe even just like talk about like something bio related or humanities related. It will be something related. But I won't be staying here forever as a streamer, which I know for my future self and my future audience, especially well, maybe not my future audience, but my future critique, but my future what do they call it? Like that uh critiquers. Is that what it would be? Critiquers. Anyway, point is, these future critiquers are basically gonna look at me and say, "Thank fucking Christ, the person's gone." Took them a while, but they're finally gone. And to those types of people, I say, yes, but I still left my mark. And I enjoy leaving my mark. And my future self, I hope you're doing well. I truly wonder about what my future self is going to be. Anyway, time to talk to strangers on Omegle. Let's see how. Obviously, I'm not going to show it. I am not going to show any of the people or anything that goes on. And I know you might be thinking, Omegle? That's cringe. Why Omegle? Well, because it's the only one. It's literally the only site that is not as creepy when it comes to actually talking to other strangers. So let's just see where this goes. Right. Anyway, by the way, Jack, thanks for the follow. And let's see where this goes. So just wait. It will take a while as it tries to find people. I don't know what microphone is actually using because it can't use the same exact one. Whatever the case may be. All right. Anyway, you try to become like, what was I? Even lit. I don't know. Yeah, use your text file. God. Yeah, this is, by the way, is basically what streams are most of the time. If any of you have ever followed like any sort of streamer, you know that most of the time streaming is basically it's not always like action packed. It's not always like something is going on. Wait, what? What? What the? Hang on. Let me read that. What does that say? I want to offer you a promote. Oh, the price is lower than any. Uh, I don't. Okay. Man, I don't really think that's exactly what I was. Uh, I don't know what that's all about, people. I don't know why there's an ad. I mean, how the hell are you gonna like promote this channel? Like, what could you even do? I seriously like read that and I just think to myself, like, there's no way in hell like you can actually do that much of a real promotion of this channel. I mean, what could you even do? I mean, the press is not even here. I'm clearly looking at chat. So it shows me like who's viewing this, and there's currently only 3 people, but I can only assume that uh most of them are bots. Or even actually real people, for all I know. I don't know. Oh, but this one, it's just weird. Obviously, I'm not gonna get rid of it because why not? Why? I get rid of something like that. Maybe for the rest of you, you might even feel interested in it. Interested in it. Maybe some of you who want. Actually, I want to go take a look at that. What is it called? I actually somewhat expect this to be. I don't know exactly what the Doge hype is, but I'll take a look. What is this? Well, it actually is a site, surprisingly. I don't I don't really like that concept though. This idea in which, hey, if you buy this concept, like I know like you're just offering it, but I don't like this concept in which like you buy people, like you buy something in order to make your channel grow. That is such a they call that like a spam something? Yes. Oops. Anyway, let me just go to this. All right. And say my beautiful friend. Thank you. Thank you. Oh god. I mean, those are like nice people, sure, but I feel as though like there's not really like a lot I could have said. I mean, what could I say? What could I do? What could I do? People. What must I do? That's always how it is. Got like one viewer, 3 people. Well, technically it says 3 viewers, but it only. I've always like wondered how many people are actually people. Hello? Okay. Odd. Very odd. Yeah. I always hate doing that. Damn it. Click on this too much. Hold on to it. Well, it's gonna be interesting seeing. But it's basically all just like waiting, people. That's basically Omegle in a nutshell. Okay. How much? How about I like say you are? That's how it's nice. Yeah, classify. It's also you be lucky if you find any. Jesus, dear God. Let me turn that down. Trying to test the audio. Too loud? Not too loud. Okay. Jesus of all Christ. You could pay less though. I mean, becoming a Twitch streamer is like not the worst job you can always actually have. The problem with always like becoming a Twitch streamer is just why. Oh, and yes, I very much loudly talk to myself. Forgot to mention that. Well, people will always be wondering. I mean, it's the only way to actually keep some form of engagement. Hello? 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 Are we gonna be playing the hello game? Do all right? Do just hoping to find like someone to converse to, and also not be creepy. Is- yes. I'm sorry. I thought I just had my what? Well, you thought I was like be wearing gloves? Oh, oh yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. My so I technically have 2 cameras. One's for my Twitch stream, and my other one, the one you're seeing, is the one I currently use. I know it's low quality. This was before I bought. I understandable. Well, Um. Well, as for the day, it's going well. It's rainy, very cloudy. Feels like Scotland in terms of its weather. I feel as though, like, it's fine when it rains, like, I can take any, just as long as I'm not under something in which when the rain falls, it leads to a very loud bang. You know, like, constantly it's like those heavy drops, like yeah. It's like, "Sure, while it's raining, let me just give you the most irritating noise imaginable. I know you're trying to sleep, I know that, but I'm gonna disturb you just like your brain when you try to sleep." Oh, man. Well. Oh, no, sorry, I am, it yes. Again, I told you, I have 2 cameras, so I'm just uh, it currently says 1 viewer, and I can only see most of them are bots anyway, on Twitch. I just, like, stream on Tw Oh, no. No, I just, like, stream, conversations or just rambles or whatever, like, I feel like talking about. So just current ju just, today, I was talking about the stream, about, like, why did I stop streaming. It was because I was taking chemistry. I was taking general chemistry, and I was too busy with that. Actually, I'm in college. Oh, that's fine. I feel as though, like, it's okay, like, like, just, like, having, like, a genuine conversation with other people, like, if they're willing to engage, which you were, and you're definitely seem interested. Are you actually interested in going to college or taking a break after college? It's like
and then get a job and then start life like that.
understandable.
He's staying in school. I'm gonna take a year off and then go back to school. He's going to school.
Yeah, entire time.
Fuck you.
It's understandable. When I was also tutoring, there were also people who did that, and also I would say, don't be afraid of ever like changing your major. And I would usually say, get like a general idea what you want to do before you actually go to college. Some colleges even say before you could even actually take any classes or even sign up for our classes or even
Mhm.
go to our school, well, in a way,
Mhm.
like to take the classes, you have to figure out what major you want to get into.
Mhm.
So for me, I've always known I want to go into biology.
Yeah.
And I changed my application, which is fine. Like the overall application of like how I want to apply that.
Yeah.
Originally, it was infectious diseases, but then I was like, I don't have patience for patients, so I'm not going to be treating patients. I d-
Yeah.
basically it. How many of you are actually good handling with emotional people?
I'm okay if they're like people I know. But
Maybe
like if it's
random.
strangers, I don't think I'll be good at it.
Do any of you have maybe like a part time job as like a food service industry? Is that like allowed in your
Um,
area?
I was looking at working at Starbucks as a barista, which is like, I guess with interaction with people, but I mean, of course, you'll get emotional people, like some people angry on that day, or some people happy on that day, or some people just sick of everything on that day. So it's like, I guess you can consider it that. I don't know.
But yeah, it is. It's but in medicine, it also depends, and it depends on which department you're gonna work at. So if you like,
Yeah,
say for example, want to work at the ER or the ICU, especially the ICU,
yeah, that's gonna be a lot of like high
that is
pressure,
a
high
lot,
emotional.
and especially have you ever had like a bad interaction with medical staff?
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes they're just like so much stuff is going on. They're like, ugh, they have some attitude and some
Yeah.
saltiness.
And do you ever like feel as though you also, because of that experience, you don't want to ever go to the hospital again?
My
Or you
mom.
even just like
Not
want to
really.
rush your experience? Like you just like want to get out just as much as like they want you to leave because they're tired and they just want to leave?
No, I haven't. I don't know about
Really?
her, but
My
me, no.
mom and me. The worst.
And that's,
No.
and then
What you
again,
said?
it is like that. Becoming parts of medical staff, it's not easy. And if
Mhm.
you ever feel you want to go change that, don't be afraid.
Mhm.
You can go from like one thing to another. You can even merge them. There are many different ways of applying what you have learned. But I would say figure out what you want to do early. Take maybe some of it, learn a bit about it before
Yeah.
you go the deep dive. Because once you're in that field, you're
Mhm.
more or less stuck in it if you have no financial way out. So basically, like,
Yeah.
like I mean, you got like the student debt, you had to go like take the loans, or you
Student
had,
that. And it like usually takes you like almost the rest of your life to pay student loans.
yeah.
I hear from some people.
and and it also, of
Hello?
course, it depends of what it is. In some, you may get like immediately hired on like
Yeah.
graduation, the bachelor's, but some would also like have said, was even talking about that in the beginning of stream, of like in the humanities, you get paid almost nothing. That's even assuming you can even find a job. Like if you want to go into
Yeah.
sociology, you go into economics, uh-uh. And places you can do with that. And
So.
especially if it's in a place where it's very swamped. When I was tutoring, I had like a lot of people wanting to go into psychology. I had like a lot of people wanted to go into business. I like the business majors were like pretty big in terms of college applications. But
Mhm.
the thing about that is you'll have to remember that the area you want to get into is going to be swamped. So you basically need to do research upon the very field that you want to get into.
Yeah.
And even if after you graduate, right, and you don't enjoy it, yeah, but you still
Yeah.
enjoy like the overall concept of it. So like let's say I enjoy biology, but one
Yeah.
thing I don't want to become is like a medical student because again, I don't have patience for patients. So I felt as though okay, I'm going to change it, and so I want to go into molecular biology because
Yeah.
I want to learn about enzymes, it's like
Yeah.
enzymology, that sort of thing. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, and don't think that oh I don't like this. Is I want to go to that. Don't be afraid of like changing it. And some majors, it's kind of easy to jump from one thing to another. Like maybe you might enjoy biology, but you didn't want to go deal with most of these other courses. But you also enjoy engineering. You can go to
Yeah.
bioengineering. Maybe
Yeah.
go biosculpting, which you kind of like 3D print organs. That's a growing
Wow.
field.
And I hear they pay a lot nowadays too. Bioengineering.
Yeah, and that's why I would say that if you don't be afraid to change it, don't be afraid to look, and also know that there are opportunities out there to easily transition from one field to another. But
Mhm.
it depends on the one you want to get into. For some STEM, it is. For some of the humanities, it is.
Mhm.
But not all of it. Like for example, if you want to go to like let's say an English major to a math major,
That's
there
gonna
is
be
almost
hard.
no transition transition there.
Have
That
to have some similarity within it.
yeah. So what about like all your majors? I talked about majors. The ones I like wanted to go into school.
I actually the two majors I'm thinking of going in is the two that you don't sort of agree with, sort of ish. I want to go in either finance, business, or medical. Actually,
That's good. Good.
yeah,
And those are like the finance. I can. I'm not saying like it's like the worst major. I'm not saying like it's a bad major. I'm just saying that it's swamped major. So there's like a lot more
yeah, a lot of
competition.
people go into it.
Yeah, there's like a lot more competition there than it is of becoming a nurse. Because nurses are always in demand, and
Yeah, always around the world.
and there's almost always like somewhere you can go. And of course, it also depends on what type of nurse you want to be. Like, do you want to become like a pediatric one, an emergency room one, or do you maybe like want? It all just depends. No,
Probably just like a practitioner.
all right.
Yeah.
I want to be a psychologist in a high school, like, or a counselor. Yeah, in a high school.
Well, let's say that psychology is also like a very swamped major. I'm not saying like you can't be able to find it because with psychology, especially with like students now, I've been saying like there's a bit more awareness on the idea that like children need counselors, they need therapy. I am glad that we are starting to like move more of this idea of like going out and getting psychiatric help. But I would also say that there's still a lot of work to do.
Definitely.
And I would also say that if you ever become a psychiatrist, don't just go into psychiatry. Just kind of be like maybe just like an advocate, it's the type of person like says like like we do need a lot more, especially like with people now how they almost never really had it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would even say that when people usually say that, oh, people nowadays are like weak. Like, there's no such thing. But it's like, but bro, the reason why you say that is because everyone kept it bottled in at your time.
Yeah.
Remember, the people nowadays are more open. People are
Mhm.
nowadays are more willing to look for something.
Yeah.
So again, I don't feel as though but still no, like most fields, like almost anything, it will be swamped. Even my field of biology is swamped. Like it's still a
Yeah.
massive competition
Mm-hmm.
to even go into like the UCs. To go into
Yeah.
like any of these upper universities.
Where are you from?
Um, I am from California. I'm still in California.
So many people are from California that we've seen on here.
Yeah, we're from Boston,
All the
Massachusetts.
way on the other side, the other coast.
How is it like though in Boston?
It's a bit
You
chilly,
see it?
but it's
It's
nighttime.
pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you got like a nice view. Compared to
This
where
is
I live, there's only pollution,
Oh,
so you really can't see much. Are the cats calling again? Sorry, I have cats.
you have cats.
Yes.
Can you see them?
Okay. Hang on. Where's the other?
Not a.
he's wearing a.
Yes.
I was chewing.
He's screaming. He look back on this.
Like make it so we can't hear ourselves.
No, I like it.
Right.
Thank you. That's a huge.
Kitty.
No, get wait.
You don't like
Yeah.
He doesn't like to be held.
I'm sorry. She does not like to be held.
I love it.
We still saw her. We still saw her a little bit, a glimpse.
I love the color.
Her name's Chewy.
Really stupid.
Aww. She reminds me of a Chewy bar. Like the
Wait, you
shades.
said cat?
No, like the shades of her. It's sort of like
Let
Chewy
me see if I can
like,
show. Anyway, say hi to the audience.
Where's Chewy?
Do it.
Hi,
Oh, there
baby.
she is.
Aw,
Oh,
she's so cute.
hola. Hi, Chewy.
There's Chewy.
It's a calico.
Oh,
She always moves.
The calico cat. Did you know that calico cats are really rare?
uh,
And male calico cats are even rarer. And my cat is a male
Mhm.
calico. Is one in like
got my shot there. I got my
2,000
vaccine there. It
back
hurts.
spot.
It hurts.
I'm
It
sorry.
hurts.
I'm sorry.
Attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she.
You said that out loud.
Are you playing? Wave to the audience, Chewy.
I like your goggles.
Is it like safety glasses, like for the lab?
Yes. So there's two types. Two types that I know of. This is the type you would wear if you're working more for maybe like the type of lab where you don't have to like deal with much splash, so, like more
Yeah.
like
Oh, I
deeper
see.
types of chemistry.
Yeah.
This is not one of those. These are more for like bio type labs or even maybe like more like biochemistry labs. Ones in which you don't have to work with ones that you would maybe kind of expect from some type of sorry,
Yeah.
some type of chemist. I do have the other pair, but I think you maybe know. Have you ever any of you taken or at least like seen like those like chemistry with those like bigger ones and they almost like push onto your face and then they
And
just like leave those marks
Yeah.
and I just like and I also feel like I'm about to get a headache.
it hurts my eyes. Actually, because my what's it called? Bio teacher doesn't let me wear my glasses with the goggles on. Oh,
Yeah,
Sad.
they didn't let me.
yeah, it is basically like that. And the white lab coat, well, to match it all up. I'm also wearing
Yes.
a white lab coat.
I noticed it when you got up.
Yeah.
And things are going well at least. Well, any you got any more thing else to talk about? You want to move on to the
Not
next person?
really.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. It's been good
All right.
talking to you.
Good talking to you
Bye.
too. Have a nice
Uh,
day. They were nice. That was nice. All right, so let's see here. All right, so let's. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, no. Hello? Can I say that? It's
It's just not on there, Bob. Shut up. Yes, bro. You want to play Minecraft?
Oh, what?
Huh?
Do you go on there as well, Pop?
Jesus Christ. That was weird. God, I was like, that's like weird. Hello? Hmm. Okay. Moving on. Jesus Christ. Ah, people be so desperate on this side. I don't weird though. It's like, wait, maybe the blue. Hello? What? What are you doing? Hello? Okay. What? What? You're still here? What do you want, cat? What do you want, Cato? What do you want, cat? Cat, cat, cat. What the?
What the?
What? What is it? What is it? What? Yes. Need to stop the yes. You're not Yoda. Not Yoda, Chewie. Chewie. That. Whiskers caught me. What? Stop it. Stop scratching. Everyone, hang on. I gotta be back. Uh, Chewie, you have to leave. Hey, cat. What? What means? What does it mean? What does it mean? I'll leave. Okay. Apologies. Cool. Of the internet. The cat's calling. What? Calling. What's the mean? Wait. Hey. What? Yes. Come on. What? Can't you see I'm streaming? What? Calling? Oh. Okay. Okay. People of the internet. My cat. Well, it's not really my cat. Well, it's my parents. My parents' cat will not stop calling. Will not stop crying. Because cat must cat. Because cat. Cat's cat because cat. Why must cat cat? Because cat. That is the reason.
Wait.
Whoa. This is truly the experience. Yeah, I don't know what that was about either, chat. Sound like a murder mystery. Okay, it could be. The fucking desperate. I feel as though like Chris Hansen could just have like endless content on this site.
Yeah, ma.
Huh?
Hi, bro.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yep.
Are you a gamer?
No.
Are you an AI?
No, I am not an AI. If
Are
I
you
was,
sure?
then I would not need to pay any rent or food or water or any of
Prove it.
that.
Are you an AI?
What? Sorry, I
Prove
didn't
it.
hear that. People are clicking hard. Hello? What? Hello? I can't hear you.
Hold
Okay,
on.
now.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay, now I can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. The mic was not
I
on.
bet. Oh yeah. It's sad to say that you're Asian.
I know, man. It's so
I know.
sad.
It's so sad.
It's
You,
so
you
bad,
might as
man.
well go commit suicide in the Asian forest. You know the Asian forest in China? Oh yeah.
You mean the suicide forest in Japan?
Oh yeah, Japan. My bad. Wherever the fuck you fucking Chinese niggas are from.
Oh man, dude,
Yeah,
yeah.
skimmy,
Yeah.
skimmy, yeah, skimmy, you fucking faggot. Look at you, ugly
Yeah,
ass nigga.
oh
Look at
god,
skimmy,
man. You're hurting me,
skimmy,
man. You're
skimmy.
hurting me.
Yeah, you heard. Yeah,
How could you do
did
that,
you?
man? You're hurting
Damn,
me. You're hurting me, man. You should.
ugly ass
How
motherfucker.
could you? Why you gotta do that, you gangster? Why you gotta
Shut
be
the
this
fuck
much
up,
of a
pussy.
gangster, man? Why?
I'm what, a gangster?
Why you
That's
gotta
what.
be so much of a
That's the
gangster,
first
man?
thing.
Why?
Nah, 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 nah. You have a bad paradigm. You're a
I
fucking
don't know.
pussy. Where are you from? Are you in the United States or Japan or China?
Man, I'm from Asia. That's where I'm from. Like all of Asia.
Well,
I
right now,
encompass all of Asia.
right now, the time
Oh,
in California that I'm from is 4:23 in the daytime p.m.
well, I can't tell what it is because again, I'm in Asia. Yeah, there's a nice sky. There ain't nothing but just all of it. Nothing out there, man. Nothing
I know,
out there.
but it's and well, I wanted to tell you that it's no matter where you're from, no matter the personality you have, it's sad to be Asian. You should just kill yourself. I'm sorry.
Man, dude, I
So
know.
you get skinny.
It's so
I know.
sad.
Skinny.
I've tried, man. I've tried,
Yeah,
but just
skinny.
like,
You know damn well that this is gonna sink into your dreams and like nightmares and shit. That
yeah, I
it's
know,
sad to
man.
be Asian. Look at you. Look
It's
at you.
so sad. I
Look at you.
know.
I know
We're
you
going
look at
right
yourself in the
back.
mirror and you're
We're
brushing
going
your
right
teeth,
back.
and you're like, "Damn, I'm fucking Asian. Fuck,
God damn, man.
fuck, I'm
That's so
Asian."
true, man. I know. I truly know that, man.
Yo,
I know
yo,
that.
you're
We're going right back to square one. Like, let me just. There's no real way that you can actually engage with that. Like, what could you do? There's literally nothing. He even repeated the same exact lines. What about what could I do? Just like, oh yeah, man, just say it's all the time. It's just like, man, there ain't nothing to say, just the same exact thing. We're really going back, going right around in a circle. Um, and that's why what else can you do but just troll? You just like full on go, yeah, man. I know, man. It's so bad to be Asian. I know that, man. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. It, it's so bad. I know. I mean, I maybe could think of like a counter, but I couldn't really think of anything. Like, what could I even say to that? I mean, the guy looked and sounded like he was very much high. Like he was on something. What could I even say to that? And I like, oh, because it's like if being Asian is like it'd be so bad, man. Just like go kill yourself at like the Japanese suicide force or thing. You didn't even know what it was either. Further like proving my point that he most definitely lied. Well, actually, I can't say someone's high just because they don't know that one thing. But the way about how he talked, the way about how he presented, and just, yeah, just the way about how he talks, the way how he presents himself, he just sounds like a high schooler that's just trying to be an edge lord. But he's just really trying to compensate for his many shortcomings. That's all he could do. What else could you say? The massive shortcomings. Anyway, moving on to the next person. But I also remember that, when I was younger, I was exactly like that too. No, seriously, I remember when I was in middle school, I used to say the N word almost all the damn time. Like almost every single afterword. Like those types of people who put like those emojis after every single word in a text, where they just like go, now you can clap. It's like, why do you need to put these emojis all the time? What's up with the emojis? Why do you need to put that much? I swear to you, it's people like this that just make me wonder that how did we ever have who ever thought of emojis at this point and implemented? To the very person who did that I hope you have nightmares for the very creation, the nightmarish thing that you just created. Because it is goddamn awful. I I don't know what that was about. Okay, anyway. Um but yeah, I remember when I was like that, just saying the N-word all the time because middle school. No, seriously, like you just say it because you just say it. Like you're being like an edgelord, just trying to get a reaction. It's like those types of kids who basically just like learn a new swear word, and the moment that they hear everyone else laughing, they just keep saying it because they think it's funny because they made another person laugh. That's basically why. Anyway, hope you all enjoy that. For that little lesson. Oop. The desperation, I say. Sheer desperation. Hello?
Yo, what's
Yep.
going on, man? Nice chair.
Thank you. I only wish it was comfortable.
No, what is it? Game. What kind of chair is that, bro? We got the same one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
GT Racing. I got GT Player. All right, same company. Same company.
It could be
What,
worse.
what are you on Twitch or something? What are you doing, bro?
Actually, yes, I am on Twitch. I'm actually currently live streaming just the conversations that I have. Don't worry, I'm not showing your face or anything, unless you want me to.
Nah, it's cool, bro. It's all good, bro.
The
So
only I
like
hear your voice, and that's it. That's
you're
it.
gaming?
No, just chatting.
Oh,
That's
you're a
what I do.
chatter. All right, all right, all right. That's cool. That's cool.
I mean,
That's cool. What's up with the Bill Nye the Science Guy goggles?
that one more time. I'm about to scream. I get
Yeah.
that so fucking much. I get
What
that enough
the
times.
fuck? Brother, like you just came out the chemistry lab, boy. What you on, dude?
Well, so I play as my Twitch channel is called a bio student, and that's why I wear
Oh,
this.
okay, that makes sense. Then all
So
right.
it's basically just matching the name.
Yeah,
It,
that's cool. That's cool. All right, I got you. Got you.
and in
All right,
terms
man.
of,
You said what?
I don't know, I was just about to say, like, And technically, I just took chemistry last semester, so you're not entirely wrong.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Were you in college?
Yeah,
Second year?
more or less. That's,
Last year?
um, no, so I say like more or less. So technically, I've already like completed all my classes that would technically be a second year, but because of
Mm.
everything that has happened, it's one of those of nah. So it's technically
Damn.
my fourth year, but I'm still technically a sophomore, and I'm already just waiting for the transfers program to basically get a letter back from it.
Yeah, you're fucked, bro. It's alright.
I mean,
I'm in the same boat. Like, it's all good, bro. Like, we're fucked. I'm supposed to be
what
graduating.
what did you apply for? Like a
Like,
terms of
what?
major.
Oh, my major?
Yeah,
Business administration.
for me, it's biology.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, depending on which UC I go into, I think for Santa Cruz it was like genetics and genomics. For Davis, it was molecular and medical microbiology, and Merced was molecular biology.
Right. Where you from, bro?
California.
Cali. And you got a big stream there? How many people you got in there?
Nah, man, I wish it was a big stream. I could have like just used that to pay off my college, but it's like nah, I got a small one.
Nah,
It's only like one viewer.
one viewer. Oh, you'll get there, bro. You'll get there. It's
But
all good, bro.
but here's the thing though, and it was something
Oh,
that even Moist Critical was talking about. How that the one thing about like Twitch stream is that even if you get like 5 viewers on your live stream,
yeah,
that's huge.
yeah.
That's like most of live stream of
I
Twitch
believe it.
because Twitch is just so oversaturated. And it's just
Yeah,
one
because
of
there's
those
so
that
much people on there.
yeah, and the best thing that you can do is just keep going, try to have like some version of uniqueness. That's why I got this getup, got that
Yeah, you
uniqueness,
got the
got that
goggles on and
unique
stuff.
attire.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That's all. Yeah.
it also comes down to personality, you know? Way about how
You
you
think you
present
got that
yourself, the way
personality?
about
You think it's there?
huh?
You think your personality's there?
In terms of just talking about stuff.
Like being able to engage an audience and stuff like that. Like
Jesus Christ.
have people interested.
Yeah. What's up, Game Master Kiss? I don't know what.
Somebody just joined. That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, so it's one of those that it takes a while. And the thing about I was even saying that in the beginning of the stream is that look, it becoming a live streamer is challenging. You have to like dedicate a lot of hours. And because I'm just waiting for my application, I got nothing else to do. I
Hmm.
used to have a job, but now I don't. And
Yeah, I
it's
hear
one of those that
you.
what else
That's what's
can
up,
you
man.
do?
Keep going, man. I'm rooting for you.
But thanks, man. Hope you also get into your business administration. But things
Yeah,
go
man.
well
I'm
for
trying
you.
to get it done. We'll get there, man. You too, man. You'll get there.
You just gotta keep going. That's even what I thought too. It's I didn't do well on like some of my chemistry exams, but I still kept
Chemistry is
going.
hard. Man, that
But
stuff
yeah,
is
but
hard.
I still kept going and it got better. It's one of those of you don't know what those moments are until you live those moments. You don't know
Chemistry
those
is
moments
hard,
until you
man.
live those moments. So just gotta keep
I
going, keep pushing.
I give it to you, bro. Chemistry is hard.
Oh,
I took
yeah.
like one class for like a prerequisite. It
But
was
hey,
tough.
you're going for the things that you're strong at,
Yeah,
the things
definitely.
that you love, and that's all you can do. Keep doing the things that you love, the things that you want to do. That's what I do. And I
For
know
sure,
chemistry
man.
sucks. It gets worse as you go into upper divisions, but hey, that's why we all have strengths. And we
Right.
don't need to like specialize in everything.
So you say you're pretty good at chemistry.
Eh, I'm all right. I mean, it's one of those that's like because I'm only taking like the lower divisions. It's not like upper
Mhm.
divisions.
Oh,
Divisions.
okay.
Divisions.
So you be having like a lot of labs and stuff.
Yeah, but not ones where we had to write reports. Not like
Okay.
ones where it's like full deep, have to write the report about like everything that has happened,
Yeah.
and it's one
Yeah.
of those that uh, more or less follow this cookie cutter recipe.
Hmm.
So yeah, but again,
Yeah. Yeah, man. All right,
oh well,
man. Catch you, man.
you later,
Good
man.
luck to your stream and bio, man. You got this.
All right, all right. I'm Goofy Uncle Production. What is that game? Game Master Chris. And I'm on Chemistry University. Goofy Uncle Production. What is that? Oh, I am an uncultured swine. I don't know these memes. I'm very much uncultured. Can't even say that like even straight face. Um, but yeah, chemistry is one of those that it's not easy, and it also is one of those that you just gotta hope that not only do you understand the material, but you at least got a professor. Oh, all right, Adam. Sorry about that. I just didn't know how else to actually go with this. Where I'm from California, so I also live in California. That's why I was talking about like UC Davis, UC Merced, UC Santa Cruz. So California is where I'm from. The only dream you ever have in California is leaving California. It's just way too expensive unless like you are already rich or you got like a high paying job like somewhere and you're like able to afford it. They ain't cheap here. In terms of real estate, that sort of thing. All right, I'll check out with the Spotify. Oh, is it song? Yeah, I can't play that. Uh, Sorry about that, Adam. I can't, play that because Twitch. Yeah, it's so the one thing about Twitch is that they are very harsh on their DMCA. And even if like I'm like a low end streamer, which technically I am, because I don't have like a massive following, but even still, the thing about Twitch is that if if I even tried, right, to like even play a song here, they just like got the gavel and bam. Uh, I don't. Let me mute the stream so I can at least hear it. Maybe I might. Okay, let me look that one up. No, I don't actually really know the song. I never heard of it. Oh yeah. Have I heard this song before? Yeah, I think I have heard of this song, but it's one of those where you almost kind of don't think about it because it's a song that's never like really. Again, it's I probably heard this song like years ago, and I never really paid attention to the lyrics. That's why it's like if you were to go tell me that, I was like, yeah, I believe you. Because again, like no one ever thinks about the lyrics, unfortunately. But then again, I also think to myself, gosh, yeah, very much like we are under the control of the very much rich. I think it was even like Noam Chomsky was even talking about like how the concentration of wealth leads to the concentration of power. This is the very reason why I've always believed in the ideas of universal policies because it not only provides people with a chance to move up in the system, but a large amount of like safety nets for them that even if things go bad, they at least have something to fall off without actually breaking anything. And in the current economic system, it's one of those that if something bad happens, like COVID, but then there's almost nothing to fall on. Nothing. Because there's no effective systems in place. Jazz Republic. Hey, I'm getting an international audience. Kids. Nice to meet you too. Great that I'm now starting to spread my influence around the world. I know. That was that was bad. That was pathetic. And that's just the thing about comedy though. It's that you just gotta fling so much shit to the wall and hope. TI. Adam, exactly like what is TI? I'm sorry to again my further ignorance of this. I don't know exactly what you mean by TI. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, my point is about humor is that humor is one of those things that most of the time, it's just you gotta fling as much shit onto the wall and just hope some of it sticks. It, it, so, well, I mean, even then, it's still impressive. They're able to like write write in English. Exactly what does the public? What is that language? Uh, oh yeah. So yeah, it's still impressive, like being able to transition into like one language to another. So it's understandable for maybe like misclicks or miscommunications. Because again, this is also another thing about international language, which I speak sixth language fluently, sure, but it's one of those of maybe more like a general conversation. I can only just like imagine trying to keep track of like all six languages. Although that depends. I say it depends because even with the six languages, there's like some similarities between the languages that it's kind of easy to at least learn it. I feel like there's like a lot more people like learning about Japanese. But anyway, my other point is like looking at all those like Slovak, English, German, French. I tried watching anime, there's like some good ones and not so good ones. And if I was to say the worst anime I ever watched, I probably am gonna get hated on for this one. But I just never could stand it. The worst anime I ever saw was Baki. Baki was the worst anime I saw because the problem was it felt like it was taking itself way too seriously. And it almost felt like it was never focusing on Baki. It was focusing on all these other characters that is said like, oh, they're all gonna come together and they're gonna come into the massive fight. And I was like, why don't they just do it? Why do they need to go through all of this sort of stuff and even talking? Why not just settle it now? Why do we need to go through this? It's an it's one I think like another one though, but I think okay. I do have a feeling I am gonna get hated for this one. But it's more because of the latest seasons, and especially the fifth season just started like felt like a bore to me. I think that other anime, what I want to talk about. Isn't it called Hunter x Hunter? I think that was the one. Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, I could not stand it. After yeah, that's the one. H I H X H. I'll be honest, I could not stand that anime at the fifth season. I felt like it was dragging on to like what was even and it felt like it never really concluded all of it. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean because I know that it's a very much beloved anime. But here's the thing, I like season 1, 2, and 3. It all felt like it was actually going somewhere, like it was building up towards like this massive scene. Maybe even like meeting Go's parents. Oh, sorry, not Go's parents. Meeting Go's father. But the way about how they did it just felt like almost like they had to rush it. Like the last season. Like it felt like a bit misplaced in terms of pacing. Like season 5 and then like just season 6 and I just felt like what? Like we went through this massive transition like additional fight and I felt like season 5 probably could have been more of like the last season where everything more or less gets settled with everyone like all fighting each other. Like you got the Chimera ants and the Hunters Association and other like people growing up on the wait, they made a new one? Was it the old one I was maybe made a new one? Which one was I watching? Well, which one was the Netflix series actually focusing on? I don't know. The point is, I just never I just stopped. I just felt like I wanted to get through this as quickly as possible. Either way, I think it's just one of those. Again, I like season 1, 2, and 3. But season 4, I was like, okay, interesting. Kind of seeing where this is going, but it was felt like it was going somewhere. Where especially like with season 3, where it was like, hey, well, I'm gonna have to go somewhere to go help the boss of the spiders. Yes. But I don't even think they brought them back. Like even in like the later seasons, like the boss, I never saw him. I was like, geez. I I enjoy some of it. I was fine with it. Actually, truth be told, looking back on it, I felt as though, yeah, it is good because it was like they were still had like a lot to learn, and it's not one of those of like where they just said you have like a lot to learn, and they just don't even like show it. They actually show it that like, look, you do have a lot to learn, and you're gonna have to figure this shit out. going through all this extraneous activity. But like they go like 3 and then 4 and then it was season 5. The 5th one, I just felt like, Jesus, that's like a lot of episodes to cover about just one thing, like the Chimera Ant. And then and then I was just like, Jesus, can we just like get straight to the point? Let's just like end this quickly in a way that just makes it feel like I'm not being bored. The season again, yeah, it was a season. Yeah. Thanks a lot about that, Adam. Hope things go well. Oh, and maybe even seeing if they can actually maybe somewhat maybe make a conclusion to Hunter x Hunter because I felt like there was still a lot of unsolved mysteries. They still, especially with the spiders, I felt like they never really concluded that. Whoa,
Ai, e aí, viado,
hello.
suave? Asiático? Porra, é esse japonês?
Yeah, not really good with like any foreign language.
Hello, do you like my
Whoa, yeah, not really.
Hey.
Hello. Yeah, that was awkward. That was weird. Odd. Could be worse. God, I know. Like I've back on last season, it was alright. Not terrible.
Oh.
Not really long. I will say this though, that the show could have really actually been better. Well, I thought the show was fine until like season 5. HXH or Hunter x Hunter. I wouldn't say like it was terrible. It was not the worst anime. Like when you compare it to Baki, it's like, well, I was saying like bar pretty low. Let me just describe it like this. If I was to choose between Hunter x Hunter or Naruto, I think I would. Oh, geez, that's actually a really tough one. Like cutting out the useless filler of Naruto, if I was to choose between, like, I'm not counting the filler as actually part of the season. I'm gonna be focusing more on just the story itself, which is what I've been doing. That is a very much tough one. I can't really. I don't know which one's better, Naruto or Hunter x Hunter. That really is a tough one for me. Got no answer. Yeah, weird things going on. Things are going well. Things could be worse.
Can you are you Asian? Say hi to my friend. Say
Jesus. 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 So many. Could be worse. Jesus.
Good morning from Philippines.
Hello from the US.
Hi, I actually wake up. I just woke up rather, and it's raining outside.
Dang.
Um, I was planning to go to the market to buy foods for our lunch, and it so happened that it's raining, so I decided to stay. in the house. Maybe later in the afternoon, I'll go to the market to buy some stuff, for dinner. How
Fair
about you?
enough. Huh?
How about you? What's your plan for today?
Oh, I'm just live streaming that
Oh,
conversation. Don't worry, I'm not showing
okay.
your face. I'm not showing your face or anything. I'm just
Are you
having
a
conversation.
vlogger? Are you
Uh,
vlogging?
I guess you can say that, but again, I'm not showing your face unless you want me to.
Yeah, it's okay with me. It's okay with me.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. May
Well, I
I know
actually think
your
it would
your,
probably be best
your
not to
YouTube
because,
account?
huh?
Do you have a YouTube account?
I do.
Oh, I it would be nice if I am going to subscribe on your account. How can I subscribe to you?
I think it was probably. Well, let me check.
Um, oh, a bio student.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me try.
Bio. Mm.
Try that one too. Whichever one works.
Oh,
Here's a
so
bunch of.
bio student. All right, all right.
Yeah, it was biased doing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it was that one. Sorry, the second one. Second one. And you're also from the Philippines. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, I am from Philippines. In Aklan, Aklan, Calibo, Aklan, where Boracay is located. Do you know Boracay Island?
No, I never really been to the Philippines. Or at least I can't remember where my mom took me. Well, like where my parents took me in the Philippines. It was somewhere. I can't fully remember. We were there to like go
Actually,
visit
today,
family.
actually today is January 10, and today is the start of the Ati-Atihan Festival here in the Philippines. It's a 1 week, it's a whole week celebration, and there are street parades happening in that whole week. But it so happened that the weather is so bad. So I don't know if people would enjoy the street parade since it's raining, cats and dogs.
Well, maybe, or maybe they'll push it like to next week. I mean, it all just depends on what they do, what the government
Yeah, what time is
decides.
it there in the US?
Huh?
What time is it there in the US?
So in the Pacific region where I'm from, it's 4:58 p.m.
4:58 p.m. So I guess we are advanced. Am I right?
Yeah, well, I would assume because you're like saying you're in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So when are you going to upload this video, this conversation in YouTube?
um so technically I'm on Twitch. It's actually a live stream.
Oh,
But in terms of like the conversation, so I've been streaming for about like almost like an hour and a half, which would
okay.
also mean that I
So
may
where can you find this your channel in YouTube directly?
uh
They just find you in YouTube to see
uh
this to see your live stream.
I think I'll just upload it maybe just after I'm done live streaming. I'll just download it here and then upload it onto YouTube.
Okay, okay,
Maybe like by my timeline, by my relative timeline, it will be tomorrow.
okay, okay.
It was like
Do you also have TikTok? Are you
uh
fan of that? No?
I I actually also have TikTok, yes. If I find it. Let me see. Let me see.
Can I
I
have your
do.
name, please?
Let me actually see if I can find.
Let's get this one hooked up.
What is your name, sir?
Uh, I am a bio student.
Okay. So I think that's for now. Okay. So nice talking to you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye bye. Hi.
Hello.
Can you see me?
Oh, what? Oh,
Can
yeah.
you see me? You ain't looking at me.
Sorry. I forgot it was. Wait, shut up. Not here.
You should unmute. Shut up. Why do you have glasses? Idiot.
Oh,
Jalen,
man,
you
dude.
should
I'm
unmute.
so sorry, man. I'm so
Hey,
sorry.
look. My teeth are social distancing.
Oh, God, man.
Are
That's
you
so.
serious?
Oh, man. That's so funny.
Uh,
Your teeth are social distancing?
Oh, come on, man. It was funny. Come on, man. It's a
Shut your
great joke.
thing.
I need, like.
it's
I need a.
hot.
Jesus, guys, man. So, yeah. Again, it's just. At best, as I could describe it as another edge lord child. Like what chat? What am I could even do? What can I even do with that? Other than just basically like, oh yeah, man, you're so fucking funny. You're so hilarious. You know, it's just like respond in the most best way I can, which is sarcasm. Because there's nothing else I could do. There's really nothing else. So could be worse. I say could be worse. Yeah. Apologies, people. Let me try it again. All right. Go on and see what else is up. Hello? Okay. Again, as per usual, this site. Weird.
He probably could. Edgar? Edgar.
What?
Edgar. Edgar.
I
Burn Edgar.
I don't know what just happened, Chad. I don't know what they were referring to. Hasn't? The piece. The thing. Went on. Uh, I apologize for all this nonsense. I could best describe it.
Hello, little child. What are you doing on here? Oh.
Okay. That was odd.
And then this
One conversation after another. It all happened. As per usual. Yeah. Things are going on.
Oh, I
Hey, what's up, we?
Whoa, that's one. Hello?
Hi. Hi.
Hello. Okay. Okay. I am quite glad I am not showing the situation that's going on. Trust me. Y'all don't want to see. Y'all really don't want to see. Uh, da, 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 da. That's right. Yeah, this side is almost. Interesting is a pretty interesting way of putting it. Interesting is. Feels. I don't know. Yeah, chat. This is basically what you would be experiencing. This is basically the Omegle experience. This is truly the Omegle experience. You just basically wait. I just only hope something.
Unless you want to see that. Sure you don't.
Whoa. I'm not letting you all get that because trust me, it might be bad. Like a bad play or it's a copyrighted song? Perhaps even both. A bad play of a copyrighted song.
Hi, babe. Yeah.
What the? Alright. Gotta wait for that. Man. Really much happening.
When she opens her door,
Hello?
she hears a male voice telling someone something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So one of the victims, who I guess survived, saw
Hello?
I gotta turn my car on. Allegedly, and he presented himself as like a random person.
Hello? Yeah. Well, that was just basically becoming a staring contest chat, as per usual. That's another thing. Beku was like. What can I say? Not much. Not really much I can say. Ain't really much else to say. I don't even think I would even like want to upload them because it's not really a lot that you could do. Could you do? I saw. It's just like so fucking ridiculous. A man in a row basically just huffing like the most biggest vape I've ever seen. Biggest vape. Jesus. It's like people really just like come here just like be horny. Like there's already places like that. And it's called a dating app. You horny, just go to a dating app. Just do that. Why go through this place? Why is it always this place? Why? I ever just like thought about. I mean, at least like the first person I actually had a conversation with before I started the stream. He even admitted that like, look, I just like come here just like try to like find girls. And it's like, well, I guess. But just oh,
Hola, amigo.
I
¿De qué mucha?
no español. Yeah, I don't speak Spanish, people. I don't speak Spanish. That's why I was like, look, man, it's like, hello, man. It's like I understand like some of what he was talking about, but it's more like still in Espanol, and I don't speak Espanol. Hello?
Me neither. I don't speak Espanol either.
What?
I don't speak Espanol either.
I was basically just talking to chat. So that was about. Ah, speaking. No español. No. What doesn't it go like? No hablas.
Hey.
No hablas. Hello? Oh hell no. Hell no. I had a very bad feeling about this one. Yeah, chat. This whole site is a gigantic mess. Well, it could be worse. Could be worse. All right. I mean, I had like a few good conversations. Good conversations with Adam as a Twitch. But with other people, it could be worse. And hey, I at least got some followers, which is not bad on Twitch. What you gotta do is best you can. You gotta do what you gotta do. Hello?
Yeah.
Man. There's not really much else I can say. The guy didn't seem like he even wanted to confess. I don't even know what he was doing. I think he has the same exact sentiment as I do. You're bored out of your fucking tits. It's yeah, I don't know what that's about either. Chat, I don't know what's happening either, so don't ask me.
Hi.
Hello?
Where are you from?
Cali?
Where?
Cali. California.
Cali?
Yeah, so
Okay.
like California. Wow. Having like full on conversations, just like said California. It was like, nope, nope, out of here. But then again, I think she also knew that, like, look, this conversation's not going to go anywhere. I think most of these conversations are going to go anywhere. Where could they go?
I tell RJ pig on the line, but it did.
Whoa, that was just. I don't even know what the fuck that was about. Don't ask me, chat.
I did.
What? I think the person said hi, but I just didn't hear them. Not much going on, chat. Feel like, where is everyone? No one's here. Chat, even if I do say hi, it's like automatic, like just leave. Because again, and I think it's also about that time for most of these people where they come out and be horny. Like, many other sites to do that. There's so many other places you can go. Nope. I just love that. Like, you can usually just like hear them like just slam the escape button. Then just like slam like all the force that they have. Like, damn it. You don't need to beat it that hard, okay? You don't need to. But you need to beat it that hard. I know you're hard, but don't need to save that for another time. I am such a social embarrassment. I will just straight up say that. Yeah, I don't know what that was about either. That one was that.
Teenager.
What?
No, I think this is an adult. Let me see. It's like the face he's angled. It kind of looks like he's a
What?
teenager. No, he looks like an adult. Some people look younger than they are. Yeah.
Do I really look that young?
I think you look like an adult.
Oh,
How old are you?
22.
No, makes sense. He looks his age. Yeah. Papa's
Yeah, I'm
just weird.
22. I'm actually 22.
No, you look your age. No, you don't. Yes, he does. You look older. You do you not know what you don't know what 22-year-olds look like. What 22-year-olds do you interact with? I don't
Here,
people do that with me too.
but
Porn.
it's all relative, like it all just depends. Everyone has like different looks. Some people look their age, other people don't look their age.
Yeah.
Some people don't even like look like the very sex you would ever see. You ever seen those types of people where they have like maybe like long hair, but then they immediately just like turn around and they're male?
Yeah.
Well, it's like that.
Are you? Oh!
What do they call those types of people? Androgynous people.
This nigga tweaking.
I wish I was tweaking. I wish I had drugs, man. I wish I did.
This nigga tweaking, man.
How do you think I'm making it though? I'm trying to. Again, not much else you can say, chat, but just simply just
Hello.
play along with it.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, good sir.
Hello.
Hello, good sir.
Hello.
Hello. Playing the hello game, as per usual. Hello?
A hello game?
Please don't tell me we're gonna play the hello game. I've already played that game enough times.
Crazy.
As I said. Not really much else in terms of holding a conversation.
There's police outside of my house right now.
Why'd it take you that long just to say that? Like, I just popped up and there's police outside. It's like, well, I don't hear the
No, like
sirens.
there's multiple just going down my street right now. I can hear them.
Oh, I can, so.
Oh damn.
It'd be interesting though. It must be the usual thing. Someone reported someone for a small possession of weed. They send in the SWAT team.
Hey, that's actually a good reason because I live in Louisiana, and in Louisiana, where I'm from right now, there's a lot of shootings down our road. So
I just made that as a joke. I did not expect that to be real. I only said that as a joke. I did not mean that for real. Holy shit. I swear. I swear to you, Chad. I only meant that as a joke. I did not mean that for real.
Hello.
Hello, man. What's up?
Not much.
Just waiting for conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard on this site. Very difficult.
Yeah.
Even now. What exactly are you doing? Just other than just waiting for a conversation?
Yeah. Basically.
Much even happening?
Not really.
Well, I came here hoping for a conversation simply by, just for my Twitch. As I say, I just chat with strangers, that sort of thing. I'm not showing your face, by the way. I'm only showing myself. It's only just recording the conversations. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a pretty solid mic.
Aim.
I've got this thing and then my headphones.
Well, you also even got like a decent camera.
Yeah. Well, this is currently my laptop camera.
That's not bad. Like for a laptop camera, you have to admit.
Yeah, and this thing's quite an old laptop actually. I think this is like a 2015, 2016 model.
Well, still, that's lasting for this long. Going for that. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Do you like use this laptop often? Or just on occasions?
Well, I use it every now and again because I have to use it for my school. But
Oh, fair
I
enough.
played some games on it.
But not like
I
any like
played-
high end ones because it's a 2006, 2007 one, right?
Yeah. So I don't play anything too insane.
Fair enough. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but actually, I technically have like high end equipment. It's just that um, I'm using like the much more cheaper camera because I didn't have another camera. I have a desktop, so it's
Uh,
and I don't have a camera on this one. So
well, I don't do much gaming on my laptop. I more do it on the Xbox. So I've got an Xbox.
well, I mean,
So I play,
it's cheaper than a gaming PC.
yeah.
This one was expensive. Well,
Well, my
this was
brother
like
and I were thinking of building one.
I got mine like more pre-built than actually like building because I didn't want to like deal with the problems of building one, and I
Yeah,
also
well,
didn't want to buy like just for someone just to like pay someone just like build it for me. I'm just like no no no. I would rather just buy a pre-made one. When
yeah.
which honestly is pretty good. It's a pretty good Alienware computer.
Hmm.
Usually, I think that might be like the most popular, at least like one of the most popular gaming PC. I would assume. But if you
Yeah,
were to, are
probably.
you trying to like get like the latest tech, like the RTX 3090 on it,
Well,
or is
my brother and I were thinking of building me a PC because he also wants to build his own PC, and he built his PC that he uses now. And so we're thinking of spending because we have money that we're gonna use to buy a PC or buy the parts and then put it together.
well even then, like do you have like any types of do you at least like have the idea of like what type of specs you want to use? Like the
Um,
higher ones or just like more mid tier
yeah,
ones?
I'm gonna go not too high, but more of like middle, between the middle and high range.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But my brother, he's probably gonna go like the top tier stuff.
Is your brother like a computer scientist or engineer, or does he just like building computers? Anything?
Well, he likes building computers, and I mean, he plays on his computer all day, every day. Like it's almost impossible to get him off.
Same,
He sits
same.
in his room all day and does nothing.
I
He
swear to
plays with
God,
us.
let me just say this: you get like a high end gaming PC, you almost don't even like want to leave. You just like play like some high end games on that, and it's like I ain't leaving this seat. I'm gonna be pissing in this bottle, and mom, where are my hot pockets?
Yeah,
Where are my pizza bites? That's what I think. That's stereotypical, but still one of those that like you just don't want to leave
yeah.
because you got like such like an impressive piece.
Well, I mean, you might as well buy a great chair too. I mean, like a chair that literally has like a pipe running from underneath all the way into your toilet. So, like, whenever you take a shit or a piss, it just runs straight
Oh
through.
god, yeah, just like give you like a catheter and they just like set it all up. I'm set for life.
Yeah.
And you get like that like one machine, maybe like from like The Simpsons, where it's just like conveyor belt, just like food, just like open your mouth. Uh, it's like how the food is shoved down your throat. Crank the lever.
Yeah. Makes it stop or go.
I I always like you also like said but you haven't like really like fully answered my question though. Like is your brother like a computer engineer or anything? Is he
He's not a computer engineer, but he does know quite a lot about computers.
is he also like taking like any like classes in what is he being like
No, he's going to either be a doctor or a accountant.
oh fair enough.
Yeah.
Usually I just assumed and it's kind of like a absurd assumption, but I just made this assumption that like people would like get like pre-built or at least like build their PCs and like want like the higher echelon ones typically are more of like computer scientists or computer engineers. Like they either want to go
Yeah.
into gaming or programming, that sort of thing. Not just to
Well,
like
I
run the code, that sort of thing, but just to just because I got such a fascination for it.
Yeah. Well,
That's
my
more
one
essential.
friend, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a software developer because I mean I left him in a room alone for like 10 minutes and he made 6 different games in the 10 minutes. And I was like, damn, okay.
I mean, it's maybe like more like those simple concepts, but even then, they're still games.
Yeah.
Um, I would say though, what about you? What do you want to do?
Me. I'm not sure.
You said you also like you also said like you go to school, but are you like
Yeah,
already in
well,
college
I'm
or?
just entering high school, so
That explains it.
yeah. I still got my like 5 years
Fair
to
enough.
figure out what I want to do.
Hey, at least spend that time taking maybe like some classes that might interest you. I would usually say like for anyone is that try to like find a job that yes like pays well, but also like you would enjoy. You'll just like enter a job just simply because it pays high.
Uh,
Because if you end up hating it, well, not much else like you can do. Well, then again, that depends. Like, where do you live? If in terms like country wise.
I live in South Africa.
Oh, oh, I live in the United States. That's why I was like saying it somewhat like depends.
Yeah.
Because in the United States, we have a known what's known as like a student debt. Basically, like not pay. You have to like pay out of pocket.
Oh,
Okay, more or less.
do you want to see my katana?
Why not?
Give me a second. I don't know if you would call this a katana. I mean, it's pretty rusty.
No.
Oh, guess what? Guess what? Check
What?
your balls.
Yeah, that's just great.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I got you. You got God.
So, but now that you told me stuff about you, want to learn about what do I want to do?
Yeah, tell me all about you.
So, I well, right now again, I'm currently streaming.
Yeah.
Play as a bio student, and I actually am. I'm going into biology. I want to go into molecular and medical microbiology, or even just molecular biology, whichever one. The
Hmm.
primary reason is just because, you know, like people who are lactose intolerant, right? They they
Yeah.
can't be able to like drink milk.
Eat
So
ice cream.
yeah.
All those things.
So the thing about like molecular biology is that we look specifically at the very thing that helps you break down that very thing that makes milk almost indigestible for you. So it's known as an enzyme. And these
Huh?
enzymes are like catalysts. Listen, basically, they break things down or they make them into like another shape. And this rearrangement, this changing is used as a way to maybe make energy for certain organisms. More or less, that's basically what I want to do. I'm basically looking at the very thing that helps break things down for you. That specifically is known as enzymology. Enzymology, a growing branch in biochemistry.
Uh,
So yeah, basically it's what I want to do. I want to go into biology just to learn about like that, or even genetics. Another thing is like also genetics.
yeah.
See like what gene does what and at what level. It's like be fun, be interesting.
Yeah.
Originally
Some
wanted to become a doctor, an infectious disease specialist, but I just did not have the patience for patients. So I just did not want to. I did not want to. You ever seen maybe like Karen videos or people who just like break down in front of like waiting staff or service
yeah,
industry? You ever seen those? Like a breakdown
yeah,
or
I
even
have.
like videos of it. So imagine that, but increase that to almost like God level. Imagine just like the worst type of individual just screaming, crying, throwing a temper tantrum um, on the medical floor. That's basically what it's like. If I was to become a physician, at what department I would be working at, and I just did not want to deal with that. I again,
Fair
that's
enough.
why I say I don't have the patience for patients, so I'm not going to be treating patients. It, it's really just that. It's not much else you can do. But
Yeah,
I know what I like to do, and I don't know what you will do. You'll eventually find out what you'll love to do. I hope it will be sooner rather than later, because
yeah,
um, when I was also tutoring before, I had like some people who even like changed their majors because some people like want to go into like electrical engineering, and then they were like, "This is just too hard," so they decided to change it into computer. My brother changed his major like multiple times, so it's always good to at least figure out like what do you want to do before
yeah,
you fully take those leaps.
yeah.
And what? Nice chatting with you, my friend. Thanks for listening to my story. Thanks for telling your story. See you next time.
Bye.
See you. That was cool. It was nice. Kind of like most other people I usually have to deal with on this site. It's this was good. This was nice. Could be worse.
Hi, I like your glasses.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not really much else to say. Like, hello,
Hi.
hello.
Hello.
Please, not the hello game. Hit that numerous times.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Why are you here? Conversation, and then just like cancel it right there. It's not like in real life, but seeing them from this site like just today.
What's that?
No. And really do be the Omegle.
Yeah. Was that psycho?
Oh,
Hey, buddy.
uh, that's just odd. I'll be honest. Hello? Okay then. I put my phone. As we wait, conversations. Illegal game. I don't come here to play games. If I want to, I'll just play on my Steam account. I never understood.
You want to hit?
What?
You want to hit off the bong?
Man. No thanks.
I got that fucking crack rock in there.
Man, why do I need that? I can just make methamphetamine. I'm a biologist. Have you know? Oh man. The weirdness of this side at times. Hello?
Huh?
Uh, hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How goes your experience on this side? Jesus Christ. There really much else to say, people. I don't know what's going on most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also hate that. They have a way in which like audio plays back. Echo chamber. Listen, man, I don't need an echo chamber. Ain't no time for echo chambers. Ain't no time. Hey, got no patience for that. Patience for that. I swear. Like, oh, really? That fuck. Come on, man. So many other places. I don't know what's up with the horniness. I mean, I get it. Yeah, people are horny, but there's like places where you're horny. Right? How close to this?
So we have such people looking at their hiding.
Hi, are you gaming?
No, but I am streaming.
What are you streaming? Am I on it? Hello.
Hello. Hey, yeah, I'm basically just having a conversation with strangers. Don't worry, I'm not showing your face.
Where are
I'm
you
not
from?
California.
Oh, where are your parents from?
Uh, uh, my mom's from the Philippines, and my father, actually, I don't know where he's from.
Oh, daddy issues. No, I'm just kidding.
I
Are
also
you a
live with my
gamer?
parents. Huh?
Are you a gamer? Because you have a game chair. You have a gamer chair.
I'm streaming.
Oh,
Yeah.
What are you playing though?
wait, what?
What game are you playing?
Oh, I'm not playing any game. I am live streaming, but it's just conversation with strangers. That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's
But do
fair.
you game?
Yeah.
What do you like to play?
Uh, more like fan-based strategy games or action.
Oh, you don't like Apex?
Apex. Apex Legends? No, I'm not a big fan of battle royales.
Okay.
Well, were they just like looking for like battle friends? I swear, I think I was like the same exact guy. You even like gave the same exact facial expression. Like, man, like, bro, if you're actually that fucking desperate, find people. There are other places you can go to. There are literally other places you can go to. Like, it's gotta be horny on this side. Why? Always horny on the.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
What's up? What's up, bro?
Hello.
Hello?
We have look. There's like a loud voice. Hello. I swear to God, I think that person was maybe still a preteen. Still smoking. No, like seriously, I actually genuinely saw that. The person's teeth. You look at their like teeth, they still look like they have like their baby teeth. Like, damn, when are those all coming out? Seriously. Those need to come out eventually. I'm not kidding. Those baby teeth have to come out eventually. Oh, still got him. Of course he does. It's sad at times though. Damn it. It's, it's so. I just.
Nice glasses, bud.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
You know what? That is just a bit of a brain dead take because of all the previous conversations, which just skips.
Oh, okay. I was
So,
just curious about your glasses. Do they look like airsoft things or something?
I mean, these are technically fitting my attire of a lab coat. Why I wear it.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you do anything scientific then, or is it just?
Well, not yet. I'm still going through like school.
Oh,
That is going
cool,
into like biology. What
cool.
about you?
Well, I'm doing a management and enterprise degree, something simple, something I hope to make a bit of money from, so that I can have some financial independence, that kind of thing. And other than that, I run and exercise and read books.
I can tell.
Yeah, thank you. Got a lot of old books here. I'm trying to make a habit of reading through them. I've got a book about Soviet Russia downstairs and a book by Neil Ferguson about money and stuff like that and all the rest of it. But yeah, I have a bit of an issue. I don't really have a particular strength or particular thing I'm particularly passionate about except history. So kind of a bit of a general person, kind of generalist. So bit of an issue.
I mean, maybe like find something interesting. I mean, you did say like you're passionate about history, but
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
trying. But as you're like saying, like you're trying to like achieve like financial independence, and you don't feel as though like
Exactly.
history doesn't.
No,
Yeah,
not
fair enough.
really. Not unless I can start getting really good at writing books. But I'm part of a writing project, so maybe I'll get good at that later.
Hey, that works. Maybe even
Uh,
like write about like alternate histories. Like, like
yeah, I was actually thinking about that to be honest. I've got like it's like I mean, ima- imagine like imagine like instead of pigeons, like there were like bats everywhere flying around and like bats feeding out of your hands and all the rest of it. And instead of like people walking dogs, they were like walking little goats instead, and cat-sized, dog-sized cats, on leashes and stuff like that. And so you got these humans in this like society, and all the animals are just like completely turned on their head, kind of thing. It's just like that'd make a pretty weird setting. And
yeah, it's definitely like sounds like a very much like what do they call it, like the upside down world or the mirror world? Basically,
a
like
bit,
and like an alternate universe, basically.
yeah. And what happens if there was a psychopath who was going around torturing people for money and stuff? And then one day,
something happened to him that convinced him he was going to go to a bad place when he died. So he was trying to make recompense for all the bad things he was doing because he had like a religious experience. And he was like trying to be good, but didn't know how to be good. And that'd be kind of funny.
It would be interesting. Yeah, it was always something also like touched upon about like like sinners being able to recompense like for all the sins that they have done. And it
Hmm.
even raises the question like if you do that, does that mean like you go to like heaven or hell, or do you go to
Yeah, yeah,
purgatory?
yeah,
Purgatory.
yeah, yeah. So, uh, um, I was so what I was thinking, right, was like the whole life. The reason he was torturing people and so on was because, as you know, a psychopath does not is not able to empathize or sympathize with any individual. It's all about what is in their own personal interest, and they can't have an emotion, but they can fake an emotion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and because and so a psychopath can know on a intellectual level the difference between right or wrong, but feels nothing about doing anything wrong, even though what they're doing is considered wrong by other people. So they become highly adept at putting on a mask of conformity. And so I was thinking about this character like being like working for this alternative universe's like version of the mafia, like trade enforcement. Just fucking. You've seen Quentin Tarantino films where they like cut people's ears off and stuff like that, and kind of getting a bit of enjoyment out of it, but not really feeling much. Just doing it because it was the way for him to make money and for the way for him to progress in society. One day, nearly getting shot to death, jumping off a bridge, going into freezing water, and then seeing like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you keep doing this. You must, you must do good things, otherwise you will be tortured for eternity. And now all of a sudden, the guy's like trying to like make up for all the things, and he doesn't know how to be good. So he's just like, oh, how do I be good? I don't want to be good, but how do I do that? And I was just thinking that that'd be kind of funny.
Pretty interesting. But definitely like raises the question of obviously like like the main types of critiques of like like the portrayal of
Yeah,
like the character and the society. And some people
yeah.
even like say like is this supposed to be like character focused? And the one thing about writing, I would even say, like, is the story more character driven, character focused, or is it more like character and world? Because if you also
Yeah,
are pointing
it's
out
one.
about
Yeah.
this world, and
Hmm.
as time passes it will also eventually have to change,
Yeah, yeah,
especially like
that's true.
as you make sequels to it. Because if you
Yeah.
just leave it, have it as though like it's just a stagnant one, when it just like
Mm.
raises a question, then what was the point of like
What's the point?
mentioning all of that?
Yeah, so it'd be an interesting thing. It was just one idea I had, and I'm not really sure if you would just end it there because, to be honest, I really like world building. I really think it's important for the consistency. And as I said, I love history, so you know, building a believable society is so important
I
for a
feel as though
story.
like it's one of maybe like not much of like a society that's, well, yeah, a society that in which you can there was a specific word that basically it's like you engage with it, that you almost
Hmm.
feel as though like it fits it in a way that makes sense, is to
Hmm.
not just the characters. Well, basically, yeah, it makes sense to the
Internal
characters.
consistency.
But
Internal consistency.
like it's with
Uh,
like
it, I would call that internal consistency of the story.
I know like that one, but no, that's it's I completely forgot
Uh,
about the word specifically, but it's basically
hmm.
more of the premise in which you are telling this world it's building, but you can't keep it the same way forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever. Like you have to have it like eventually make some
Hmm.
changes in ways that make it feel as though like it's believable. I think like I remember like seeing this one person who like pointed out like, for example, the Star Wars series
Yeah,
that
I was going to bring that up about
so
about the continuity, coherence.
Yeah, so
So
like in the beginning, Luke's hand, like when he got like a like old bionic hand, and but then
oh
as
yeah,
time passes, he also got like a more advanced one.
yeah, yeah.
This one basically like showing that the society itself is getting more advanced, and you can
Yeah,
see that with the characters. This
yeah,
basically they like imagine like they go from like this old rust bucket of a car that maybe like something that would happen like in the 80s, and then
yeah.
like the next time they maybe get like a, let's just say, I know it's a bit ridiculous, but just to give you like an idea, like let's say like suddenly they invent flying machines, flying cars.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So basically like the world in a way has
Evolved, yeah.
changed from like
Yeah,
cars on the ground to cars in the sky, right? And the
yeah,
infrastructure even had to change.
yeah, yeah.
And even like the society itself went from like setting like oh
Maybe
we
everyone had to live close together, and there were traffic jams, so everyone lives far apart because it can fly ages.
yeah, and then, like the cultural change. It's not just like the city infrastructure, but even like the way about like how everyone like interacts, or even like how some people feel.
Oh,
You got like
let's
maybe like
meet that lovely place that's 300 miles away over there, in the other country, and we can fly there in half an hour.
yeah, right. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would be very interesting, and then the police have to change, and then the crime changes, and then that kind of thing. Like, imagine the police are trying to chase down someone in a flying car, in their flying car. It
even the
would
way
be
about like how the driver license have to like change.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
But you don't
And
have to
then
go. The one other thing though is that you don't have to go that detailed. Basically, tell the story that's basically necessary, right, but still
mhm.
keep the world in a way that feels like it's actually alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think people want to hear about. I think the reader is an individual, and he's got his eyes and ears and his nose, and he's being dragged from scene to scene, and everything relevant to the scene may be explained to a degree. But then they need to move to the next scene, and then everything in the scene needs to be explained to a degree. But if it's interesting and if it's not subtracting from the main plot,
I
but
I feel as though like again that is somewhat true, but it also depends on point of view. Like how do you write? So like you got like, the first person, third person,
it
omnipresent.
would be third person.
So like definitely just like keep that like even if it is third person, sure, but is it like in a way that you
Mm,
actually like know the character? So like as
mhm,
in like you're taking the perspective of the character themselves, like you're telling God. So basically it's like third person like omniscient, third person it basically
mm,
just there's different types of ways of telling a third person
mm.
story.
I think, yeah,
No,
that's
that
just,
actually is. There's so many different ways of
yeah,
telling
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's just that
yeah.
it
Unreliable
depends on
narrator.
perspective. How do you do
Yeah,
it?
unreliable narrator's fun. Like, um, the the reader only knows as much as the character does. Sometimes the reader knows the character's going to die, tone shifts, and all the rest of it. It's a fantastic art trying to write, and so it's one of the reasons I've started reading lots of classical literature and reading books in general and trying to read through this massive bookshelf so that I can actually one day learn how to write better. But I also feel like I need to do something more mundane, like set up a logistics business or something like that. In the meantime, yeah, trying to become reliant on writing as an income versus getting yourself financially secure and passively picking up the skills you need is probably a lot more sensible.
I mean, yeah, I was even talking about that like on stream at the beginning, in which like if you go into like STEM, there's at least like more guaranteed. While if you go into the humanities, it's like
No.
barely anything. You'll
Yeah.
there's not that many and even if you
Hmm.
do find a job, it's not as like high paying as compared to that of
Hmm.
the STEM majors. STEM majors
Yeah.
are almost always in
You,
like far more
yeah.
in And I think like I've also pointed out when I was about like just how society has prioritized STEM majors over the ideas of the humanities. And I would even
Mm.
argue that in a way it kind of denigrates the humanities as a whole. They just
For a
think that,
second
oh, like who cares about the humanities? I was even talking to someone who was almost sound like he was just dismissive of the idea about what's the point of combining STEM and the humanities, when I would argue that, like it is good to think creatively. Just as much as it's good to think analytically, it's also good to think creatively.
But
Like,
what's the point of being a scientist if a scientist does not know what he wants to achieve and cannot answer questions of why he wants to do the things he does?
it yeah, it's like that one, but I would say a more of have you ever like thought of what is there that I have learned? So basically using the analytics of the knowledge that I know, and what could I maybe see from that? So basically it's like I observe this I
Mhm.
see that, but it's like what could I even do with it? This is where
Yeah.
creativity comes in. Like, what could I do
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
this very thing? I mean, there are some things, maybe
Mhm.
even look at the look at enzymes, for example. Some people are like say, oh, this enzyme just does that and
Right.
only does that. But it's like,
Mm.
well, maybe it does more. Maybe we could
Mm.
even see it be applied somewhere else. What if we
Mm.
copy this process in this? What if we maybe make a drug and allow people to have it?
But but without imagination, you would not try asking these questions to create.
Definitely. And I would even say that sometimes, especially when it comes to the diagrams, you ever seen like any like diagrams, like a chemical diagram where it goes like A to B, B to C, C to D, and it
Yeah,
looks
I
like there's
think
like a massive jumbled mess. Basically, like all these circles and arrows that lead to like one thing and then to another, and then they kind of like expect know that when it's like, why not just like show me like a much more clear image of like this this reactant, and the product, the active site, right? Instead of just like, here's a circle, here's an arrow, it goes there, that's it, and creates this.
yeah.
It's like, why not kind of show like a bit more of that, especially when it comes to animation. Like people have like a hard understanding about like how DNA is replicated, for example, and without like the artists, the animators, the code,
Mhm.
but like, yeah, you can code, but can you actually be able to animate the very thing that I want you to do? Which is basically, I need you to. Here is basically the process of DNA replication. Can you find a creative way to show that? And if you
Mm.
don't have a creative way, you're just maybe just
How
gonna use like circles and arrows and all this other.
how do we communicate the concept?
Yeah, definitely. There needs to be a much more clearer, concise. It. Have you ever watched YouTube?
Of course, I love YouTube.
So have you ever heard of Kurzgesagt in a
Okay.
nutshell?
Oh, I think I know. Is that the Owl channel?
What?
Is it the Owl channel? It's got
Yeah,
owls on it.
yeah, all those avians, those like birds that just like hop around and they bring out.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, yeah, the chickens.
Yeah, that one. Or like Crash Course. Like those are also like great examples. They also use like
Yeah,
animations, and I
yeah,
actually even
yeah. I like
have
the doodles.
one of Philip
Crash
Duckman's book
World
because
History.
immune.
Oh, all right. That's the bird, the bird one.
Yeah, the one where.
Yeah,
And it also like really describes the process very well. Again, it's
mhm,
not just science and analytics. They also use a creative way. They
mm,
combine in the analytics of STEM with that of the
man.
humanities, and it makes it just makes people more interested in it. I would argue that it's a good
Mm,
thing. Like if you want to be able to get people to learn STEM, to
mhm,
understand the thing you're trying to tell them, like, why is it so important that I do this or I do that? Well, you can't just like say it. You have to be able to show it. Basically,
mm.
combine visual imagery or animations with the
With
description that
talking.
you're saying. to
Yeah,
get people to go, "Oh,
I
that
agree with
makes
you.
sense."
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. Ideally, you could also combine a feel with it. Feelings are quite important to people
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah, especially people usually don't think about this. Or at least I think when it comes to STEM, is that they never think about color theory. They don't think
Hmm.
about like how colors can be able to give like certain meanings. Like the
Hmm.
color red is typically associated with love
Hungry
or lust,
or
lust
violent.
or violence. Yeah, blue
Mm.
is sometimes represented as
I like how you chose the nice thing to red, and I was like violence. You're like love, lust, violence. And
I
like
mean,
you obviously
that
have a
depends
nice
on the
red.
idea of whether you consider lust a good thing. That's up
I
to
mean,
you to
you
say.
had a nice red color. My one was like blood. Lust, love, violence, aggression, danger.
But that's true, right? It all comes
Yeah,
down to
yeah, I
how
know.
you
It's
combine it.
just funny because you saw red one way and I saw red the other way. It is like, yeah. If I saw like a kind of like the right hue of red, I would associate it with love and lust. But the immediate red color I jumped to was something kind of, I don't know. I don't really have a
Graphic.
red color. Yeah, yeah, something quite like a red flashing light kind of red. Like warning, danger. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
the sirens going off like that.
yeah, the siren color red. Yeah, you got me. Anyway, that's derailed the conversation. You were saying about color theory, which is
But yeah,
important.
yeah, usually even like in STEM, people usually maybe like see like color as if like, oh, it's like on this very specific level on the spectrum
Mm,
of the UV spectrum. And it's like, well, I mean, it's somewhat more than that than just like some number interval. They
mm,
have like actual meaning behind it. And again,
mhm,
I just feel as though like the way about how we, and I would even say that it also just dehumanizes the sense of what it means to be human.
human.
They almost always they try to analyze, like I would even say over analyze in things that just feel like,
Mm,
that's not how. You don't need to like have this
mhm,
mathematical formula to try to explain
ex- mhm.
this
And do you think these?
abstractness, like and I would
Mhm,
even say it's dangerous.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
dangerous because sometimes when we ever
Trying
use it,
see people as machines.
sometimes we even overuse it. We even use it as a way as like, oh well, if we have a high, for example, like if we have a high GDP, that means great economy. But
Good.
it's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
like we still have like a
Number
lot of
goes up.
people in
Mhm,
poverty. You can have like a
yeah.
high GDP, but what does that even
People.
mean if the people are dying in the street? What does
If
that
the
even?
people are not being served by the economy.
Yeah, it just feels like you just have a number.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
I
No,
just have a number. That's it. But it's
I
like,
mean, but you can get GDP from like non-stop investment from foreign investors. GDP
right?
line goes up when when loads of foreign investors just invest money into a country for no reason. Like a great example of this would be Nigeria when they discovered oil. Loads of oil investors came into
Oh yeah,
Nigeria,
like
pumped a load of money into Nigeria. Wow, the GDP is going up, but no one saw any financial benefit. In fact,
oh
everyone's like,
yeah. Like and people usually say like, "Oh, how did Nigeria like got so bad?" But it's like, well, who do you really think most of that money went to? Really?
went part of it went to the corrupt government there,
Yeah,
and
it's
but most of it went to the
the
foreign investor.
investment was primarily on the infrastructure, on also this government, and not on that much of giving it back to the people. And that's exactly why when these rebel groups happen, when they form, you have to
Mm.
and it's so interesting too. Like we usually call like see rebels as the heroes, but sometimes we also deem them as terrorists. And I always like think to myself, like, but do you ever stop and think about why do people join in?
They,
Like
yes, yeah.
because for me, I don't just see, like, oh, like here's like this very brutal group that just formed, but it's like we had to think about why do they
Why?
form? Yeah, they're
Why?
brutal and they did horrible acts. But
Hmm.
don't you ever think that maybe they popped up because of the
For no
overall
reason. Mhm.
economic like, instability that just happened in this
Well,
country?
whilst I wouldn't say ISIS is an example of economic instability or whatever, people were too quick to demonize ISIS without understanding where and why it came from. So one of the things that caused ISIS to form was the fact that American and European British intervention destabilized the region very significantly, removed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and
I'm not trying to
yeah,
like.
yeah.
But that's what I mean by like this
Mhm.
investment. When I say like this overall investment, it's like they only invested in certain things that basically benefited
Of
themselves.
course. Uh,
It's like here's like the resources. And I even asked myself this question. And I feel as though like I would even ask them. It's like, okay, well, what happens if they have no more oil? Like even when
uh,
you said like Nigeria, like when they discovered all this oil, they got
mhm.
wealthy. And this just leads to the question, okay, then what happens if it's all gone? Because that's a
Well,
finite resource, it's not infinite.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, for Nigeria, they got to try and invest as much money as possible into their own economy so that they have a long term future and some sort of sustainable system. Oh, sorry, I thought that was someone important. But and yeah, it's going to go obviously, and they need to. The most important thing in a country, the most valuable thing in a country, are its people. People are the biggest economic
You
resource.
one thing when I'm in the United States and I always like advocate for and the one first three I think it was like the first three words of the preamble of the Constitution goes, "We the people."
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we the people. And I've always like said, if you believe in this idea of we the people,
Hmm.
why not advocate for like these sorts of policies that basically are more beneficial for the people, like it gives out like more of a sense that we are together, a nation working together to ensure that no one in America ever has to wonder whether they ever go hungry or have to
Hmm.
pay their medical bills,
Hmm.
especially like life-saving medicine. I always love that people say to me, "Oh, speak with your wallet," but it's like if you speak with your wallet when it comes to medicine, you're basically speaking with your life. It's like you're
Hmm.
basically giving yourself a choice: live or die.
Mm. If you're in a critical condition, but the issue is, if you are going to put in a redistributionist policy to ensure that people do not die, which it is, where will the money come from? It will come from other people. It's not going to come from anywhere else but from other people's taxes. So there has to be a way that keeps people who are paying their taxes inculcated in the system and willing to pay taxes to keep a system running. If you just say the government is going to look after you, government cannot do this without the people paying the government money to do it on their behalf.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. Like that's like, finances is basically like the strength of the dollar. It's like how do they believe in this concept that yes, we want to do it, but
believe
it's one
in
of
America.
those that and I've even like seen it as like no, it's like the money's already there. In fact, we actually overpay for medicine compared to like
Mhm.
most other nations. Like again, the price of
Mm.
insulin, that thing, that's absurd. That
Mhm.
price is
Mm.
is an absurd like $97 as compared to
And
like
I
if you
guess
get
it's cost.
that that's just absurd. There's some
It's
things
a huge, huge, huge markup, isn't it, in profits?
it's like illegal price gouging, but it's legal
Mm.
because they technically own the patent
Mm.
and they continue to own the patent. That was actually
Mm.
even though one of the House of Representatives even pointed out is like, how can you go raise the price of this life saving medicine when you're
Mhm.
actually making so much more money than
Do you
even
know who
that
invented
person on
it?
Social Security?
Do you know who invented insulin, though?
It was actually two Canadian scientists.
No, it was a
Like,
British it was a British doctor in London.
I'm talking about like the insulin that we
Oh
invent.
shoot! Oh,
Like,
penicillin, penicillin.
not, and it was not even an English one. That was a Scottish guy.
He just seriously.
Alexander
Yeah,
Fleming.
yeah, it's yeah, exactly.
He
They're
was
British.
Scottish.
Yeah,
He was a Scottish
it's
inventor,
part of the
and
United Kingdom. I'm a quarter Scots. I'm still, yeah. It's sorry. I got penicillin and insulin mixed up. I'm so sorry. I apologize because I got the two things mixed up.
I mean it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
So
but
I hate spreading misinformation. So if I say something that isn't true and I realize it, I have to apologize.
I mean at least like you acknowledge that yeah I was
Yeah,
wrong and I
yeah.
own up to it. And
And then you were like so sure that was instant, and I was like, instant, shit. It's not an antibiotic. That's for diabetes. Oh, I got crossed.
But even then, like, yeah, you're right. Like the people trust it. But again, like in the United States, it's one of those that it's just overpriced.
Mm,
Overpriced medicine for just things that just feel like, no, that's not
mm,
like again, like insulin and even IV stands or even like a heart transplant. It maybe
mm,
in like some nations it could be like, oh yeah, 100,000 or so. But in the United States, that's like 550,000.
mm,
And
mm,
that's just for the transplant. If we're talking about the ambulance ride, because again, you had to go take an ambulance, you also had to pay for that.
mm.
So you had to like
Yeah,
pay. Basically, it's like it's not even unheard of for people in the United States to say, "Don't call an ambulance. Don't call 911. Take
makes sense.
me
Yeah.
just take me to the hospital." The problem is the ambulance, the paramedics, the EMTs, they know where it is. But
They won't tell you.
But the thing well, they know where they are, but the thing about just having people drive you, just some random stranger, is that they'll just take you to the nearest one. And so, like, let's say you
Mm.
have a stroke. You have a
Yeah,
stroke.
they'll take you to the wrong
They
hospital. Get
yeah,
effed
yeah,
up.
they and then it's like, well, now I have to pay out of pocket. And even if they take you to the right one,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
sent to the wrong doctor that's not covered by your insurance,
You're fucked.
you gotta pay full out of pocket. So let's say
Mm,
you got like appendicitis, which is
mm.
basically the inflammation of your appendix.
I understand. It's a very critical thing that you need immediate medical
And
attention and you have
I
severe pain.
And I can also understand like, oh, well, does that mean like we'll cover everything? Was like, well, yeah, they will cover like more of the essential stuff, but not
Mm.
everything. So like, if you want like something like plastic surgery,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
for just like a certain look, no, you're gonna have to pay out of pocket. Like
Yeah, yeah. But you're
there's like
saying
something
I get shot or or I break my leg or I have appendicitis, something I clearly would not self-inflict, something that clearly is a medical emergency you are referring to should be covered by the state.
basically, yeah. And
Yeah.
again, like we already have the money. We truly do. It's just that we overpay for it. Instead of like
Yeah.
asking like why is the price so high? Because many of the things that we invent or even just mass produce is that no, it doesn't cost us that much. Even for shipping, it's not as high as you
Mm.
actually think. And especially like even if you say, well, it costs so much money to invest in all of these inventions. And it's like, yes, but
But what
we
would be the
students,
outcome?
we get investments anyway. Like
Mm, mm,
universities, like they're all paid either like through
mm,
donations or just through
mhm,
the state. In fact, I go to a community college, and even if it's like owned by the state and they are
mhm,
funded by the state, they also get massive donations for other nations, like Chevron.
mm.
Chevron donates a lot of money to
What's
schools in our
Chevron?
area. Uh,
What's that?
it's an like an oil company, basically. It's like the
Oh,
American version of an oil company. But
oh,
are you actually
interesting.
from the UK or somewhere?
Yeah,
Oh, that explains it. Cause I like, what's your version? Is it BP, right? BP is
yeah,
that's what I thought. That's like, yeah. In the United States, we have Chevron. I think it's also ExxonMobil.
yeah.
So those are like other companies, but even then, like we still get like massive donations, right?
Mm,
By like these companies, and it still feels like it still goes to like show you that. And even if you say, well, what about like tuition? Like, well, yeah, tuition like pays, but the thing is that that's nothing. These universities that we work at, or at least like if I was to work at, like they get paid a lot. but it's the administrators that basically get paid the most, unfortunately.
Mhm.
That's why there was
Yeah.
like a massive UC protest. Like a
Mm.
large amount of the UC staff have just went out and protested because I was saying, pay us more.
Mm.
Right? Because we're barely being paid anything. And we're doing like a lot of like what a professor, like what a full professor would be doing.
Would have to do.
Like it's not just, oh yeah, you gotta go grade papers. Sometimes we're even expected to even teach the class. Sometimes we even
Oh,
actually have to
wait,
teach the
wait, wait.
class as if we're the
Hang on,
professor.
hang on. So you have an academic job. I thought you were a student.
Oh no. I don't. Well, I
Ah.
used to, but it would happen across us
Mhm.
the state. Right.
Mhm.
And even if I don't, I still technically, because I live in the United States, it's one of those of I have to have a job. I
Mm.
have to work at the
With the
system in order
green
just to
card.
make
Do you have a
some.
green card?
Huh?
Are you here by
Oh,
green card, or do you live in?
oh no, I'm not national born. I was
Oh, okay.
born here. Says,
Sorry, I was just confused about how it worked. I was just
but even
interested.
but even then, like green card, yeah, it could even like go through that, and it's still just as hard. But like we sometimes we get like international students. That was what I was about to say.
Mm.
Immigration students, but like no. Well, I mean, technically, like some people also immigrate to like tend to like stay
Mhm.
here, get an education, that sort of thing. But international students is what I mean. They got like the
Yeah.
international students, and sometimes basically it's like a full on mess in our system that just feels like we the people more or less just feel as though the value of what we do
Of
is
the individual.
underpaid and we just don't get enough, and sometimes we just ask ourselves, why am I paying so high for something that
That should be
basically
pen.
is life-saving? I should
Why am
not
I
have to.
paying something so high for something that is not optional? Why am I paying such a high price for something that is not an optional product to save my life when it can be made for pennies?
Yeah, basically at like a mass scale. Like I think it was like you can
Mm.
make like, because it's like barely anything to get like kiloliters of just the meth. There's like the substances needed to make the insulin, of that little thing you actually use just to save your life for like maybe like a few days or so. I don't know how long insulin lasts.
Hang
But
on. What's the kiloliter? So you're talking about 1,000 tons of liquid.
1,000, well, not like a metric ton. That's what we're talking about, like the imperial measurement. I mean, like,
You're talking about a
or
thousand
maybe it was
liters.
kilograms. I think they're using kilograms, not kiloliters, because obviously,
Yeah,
yeah, there's like a mass difference between that of a
a
kiloliter. If you're
kilogram is
using the
one
kiloliter, we're not counting the kilograms. The kilograms of the substance,
kilo milliliters. A liter is a kilogram
but yeah,
of.
like what, like a kiloliter is like just basically like 1,000 liters. Kilograms, 1,000 grams.
Yeah, but mate, 1 liter of water weighs the same as 1 kg.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying, like at an industrial scale, how much do they produce? But how much does it take
Hmm.
take at this like cost? So basically, like like when they say like miles per hour. Oh, that was what I meant.
Are you
That's what
saying
I
that
mean.
for $90 you could make a kiloliter of insulin? Is that what
But
you're
no,
trying to
that's
say?
not. I'm basically like saying like it's basically like pennies. Pennies
Yeah, okay, I agree
instead
with
of
that.
like
You
this
there?
at this mass scale, and then when you like put it at these like milliliters that basically people would use, the milliliters, that's
Okay,
like pennies of pennies of pennies, like that, just thousands and
okay.
thousands of thousands.
Like, well, yeah, I get you, and they could probably make a huge markup of money if they just sold it $5 a piece or a couple of dollars a piece.
And
Agree?
honestly, it's international too. So it's like you're making money not just from the US, you're making money internationally. So it just
Mm,
raises the question, is
the
this
efficacy
really like it, why do you need all of this money? It's, and many times it was even
is a
pointed out
company has to
by
serve
that.
the interests of its shareholders.
Yeah, basically it's, have you ever also maybe heard that this actually was big across the United States? It's happened like massively. There was a
Mm.
guy who raised the price of HIV medication I think like 500, 5,000% markup, and he just got questioned. Like he got questioned by Congress, and he was so
Said because I can.
smug. He was
It's
so
like,
smug
because
about
I
that.
can.
Yeah, basically. And he was even asked, like, "Do you ever feel bad?" And he said, "No. In fact, I wish I raised the price even higher back then."
Fucking hell.
I was like, "Jesus, how can
It,
you?"
it's funny if it wasn't real.
It would
It,
be funny, right? You'd think it was
it
like
would be funny if this wasn't actually happening. Like this would be a hilarious book villain. Like
it sounds like something that you would also write, right? It's like something,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
god, like you just
I like
go full on.
I like hearing this guy say that. It makes me oddly like him, but I don't like him. I think he's terrible for his attitude.
I think I only would like that person just for the sheer smugness. There's like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
that having the
yeah, yeah.
balls to just say that. The balls to
I
say
like
that.
him in the sense I would like him as a villainous character and the smugness and the sort of like yes, no, no, not even that, but I'd do it again, like kind of unrepentant attitude. It's it's a great book character, but it's not someone who should have any authority or power. I mean, can you imagine what that dude's going to do if you gave him a loaded gun and it was like, "Hey, I'll give you $500. Hey, if you, you won't be caught, but I'll give you 500. You pull the trigger before you could even finish." It's like there'll be no repercut. Bang! It's just be like, "Where's my money?" That's what it'd be like. You know, be like, "There are no repercussions here. But I'll give you bang. Okay, how much were you? You didn't even let me finish. How much money I was going to say? What
Money. God, it's always been
was
that.
it $1? Yeah. Well, that's enough for me. It's as long as I'm gaining, it's not my life. It's like fuck you.
Oh god.
I'm not gonna make some money. It's like yeah, it's just like it's like why did you kill that guy? I don't know, just to see what I feel like killing him. It's like a lyric from Johnny Cash. I killed a man in Rio just to see what it'd be like if he died. It's just you shot a man just to see what it'd be like what he'd look like if he was dying. It's like you know that guy's like,
God,
but
that's
there are
just...
people who exist like that. You know, like for no provocation. I mean, sorry,
Oh no, I interrupted you like in the plain times too. It's all right.
my girlfriend studies criminal psychology, and so she's very into the macabre, and I'm I kind of have an interest in psychology and people, which has developed from my interest in history. And you know, in history, sometimes you like to case study bad people, like I don't know, Ivan the Terrible, Hitler, and you know, just like or
Yeah.
Stalin, or you know, to see how they work, you know, kind of thing. And
I
it,
also it's just that, especially when people usually say that, like everyone is reasonable, right? Like people always like assume
no,
like everyone's reasonable. But I always like think, well, like after with Putin, it's like, can you really call that guy reasonable? After Hitler, can you really call it people? Like I
mm.
get this incentive, right? It's a sense of humanity towards everyone.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you're trying to project your ideals onto others.
right, and like you see as though like, maybe everyone even has a reason for everything, right?
Everyone deep
Right.
down is the same.
Basically. Basically, and like you're trying to like again, like as I say, like you're trying to understand
Mm,
the reasoning behind it. But it's like, well, you can't always do that with
mhm,
like people who do this, like just come with such unreasonable things. But I think that is, sometimes
mhm,
like a thing about hate in itself is like if you hate someone for the sake of hating them, you
mhm.
have like no real reason to hate them. Like I can
But
understand like
people like
if you hate someone, like if they maybe like let's say they killed 50 people and
or
just
they
felt
do
like what did they do? It's like, well, I just killed them. It's like then I hate you. But if you
yeah, yeah,
killed like setting like let's say you kill like 50 people and they were basically like let's say the villains, right? Like you say you found like this villainous group and you
yeah.
killed all
They're
50 of
murderous
them,
cult.
then it's just like yeah, you maybe we could go like say, well, that's evil, but I also feel as though it's understandable. It's
A good
It's yeah,
example
there's like
is Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro. You seen that film?
I've not. I'm not
Oh, he
really
killed.
like big on cinema, but you can tell the story.
It's all right. He kills a bunch of pimps who were, and one of the girls they were exploiting was 13 years old, and she was having sex with men, and so so he's a very confusing character and a very interesting case study. And is an anti-hero, and you have to question his motives of why he did this heroic act. If he was doing it because he wanted to do the right thing, or if he was just trying to impress some women in his life, it's really it's a very complicated story. But the people he killed were, well, they were pimping out a 13-year-old. So yeah,
Basically,
they
just
had.
like pimping out people in general is like
Well,
is like
what I'm saying, the girl he was really fixated on that he wanted to save was 13. Although I must admit, I didn't know she was 13 until I found out later, because I assumed she was just a young lady because she was, I just assumed she was like 16, 17, 18 kind of thing. But I only found out later that the girl is really underage. Anyway, he becomes fixated on trying to save her, and that's why he goes on like a killing rampage. It's a it's a
yeah. I was like, I see
it's
what you're trying to say.
a
Like it
film.
just makes like why like if it was not a 13-year-old old would
If
that
it
be a
was,
reason for it? Or if it was like someone you just did not like what is like as you said, like what's the motive for
well,
for a character's action?
I suppose his perspective would be he sees these pimps, and regardless, they're not nice people. They are doing they're doing drugs. They are beating people up. They're scaring the shit out of people. I mean, these dudes are just walking around like they freaking own the place, in jackets and stuff, causing problems, um, bringing in bad clientele who want to have sex, who want to have sex with prostitutes and that kind of thing. So it's not like, oh, if you leave the pimps be, they'll leave you be. It's much more like it's destroying the whole neighborhood. It's not a that if you leave them be, they'll leave you be, because no, what they're doing is destroying your life. So he has a motive outside of just what they're doing to this 13-year-old. As we said, we're talking about individuals here that will that are have no that will happily use women in this context almost as slave labor, and will use physical violence to get what they want out of the woman, and they will use affection, and they'll use violence, and they will coerce, and they will take 90% of the money afterwards. This is not a case of, oh, she consents and he consents, so it's fine. And lead them to it. It's a very serious thing, and this is why this kind of behavior was marginalized and tabooed for a long, long time, because brothels, pimping, whoring, these activities had always brought bad people together. I know there's a modern day thing nowadays of like trying to, oh, she's not a prostitute, she's a sex worker. Oh, you need to show respect and all that kind of thing. But no, there's a reason why in the past it wasn't a case of bigotry. It was a case of, yeah, when these people get together, bad shit happens. And so that's why it was done the way it is. And mark my words, the tolerance we are expressing towards this type of behavior will result in people's lives being ruined, because you can't be, oh, live and let be with some people. You should try and be tolerant, and you should try and live and let be, but it doesn't always work if the other person is not going to reciprocate your logic.
But basically, it's a two-way street.
Of course it
Right.
is. Of course
It's
it is.
basically like they have to respect yours just as much as I respect Like that's
Yeah,
basically it's
and
like
that's very much
communication and no
starting.
like version of like coercion. And like they both basically like go, yeah, I agree. And also a sense of like basically autonomy.
Okay,
Keep the
yeah,
autonomy means between the two
yeah.
parties.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And I that's why I was always like thinking like, well, I mean,
mm-hmm.
I don't know like your honest opinion about it because it sounds like you're very much against it, but I very much am okay with sex work at
Mm-hmm.
like certain ages, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but also the fact that it has to be in a way like the person doing it, the sex worker, actually has autonomy. They
Mm-hmm.
control the income. They don't like cut a portion or anything like that, unless it's maybe like something like a studio staff have thing is basically like a division. That one I can go, okay, fine, studio thing. But again, they had to be consenting. It has to be safe. It has to be clean. And there also still has to be autonomy, me sort of thing. No coercion, no sense of, oh well, if you do this and
Mm-hmm.
do that. It's like one of those of like, look, I still have like a sense to say no, and I can leave. I should not have to just basically be like hold down or no, basically be
Right?
basically basically control. And I
Yeah,
wait, like blackmailed
yeah.
even just that's why I'm like saying it depends on the scenario, obviously, but in a general sense, I'm okay. That because I also feel as though like, look, if you just outright ban it, it's just gonna be driven underground.
Yeah, yeah.
People
Like
even are like afraid to talk about it because of the stigmatization. We
mm-hmm.
need to basically we gotta hear their story, hear about
Okay.
what
Yeah.
happens, and see like if it's full on
Mm-hmm.
true.
Yeah. Okay. I can understand that. You're a very reasonable person, and you are hoping that your reasonability will be reciprocated. And I can understand. And the argument you're making is logical. And my perspective on things like this is that it's very much a person's choice what they do with their own life, whether it be taking drugs or seeking out prostitution. My mere thing was to state that there were reasons why this behaviour was stigmatised. It wasn't a blind bigotry. No, that people's actions in the past were often rational, particularly in the context of the past. Um, Secondly, um, I think legalizing drugs, it's going to be very interesting to see if
I
it's
I would
yeah.
say like it basically is one of those like ones that are not as destructive. So like there are different types of drugs. So one thing that we also learn in biology is about like the activation. So like if
Yeah.
something binds to this active site
Mhm.
too strongly, it can cause like either like a forms of resistance or even basically
Mhm.
like problems. That's why like in the United States there's like a push more for the legalization of ones like marijuana and like shrooms. But marijuana like at a certain age, obviously, like yes,
Mhm.
it's like underage people should not have or use it because it does in a
Mhm.
way cause an impediment of
In the brain,
neurological development. And
neurological impairment.
yeah, and not like a regression, but impediment. And we want to like keep it as active, to keep it as like going as much as we can. But then like at a certain point, it's like, yeah, I think you're more or less fine.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
I,
like alcohol. Like it basically like only like at a certain age in like certain circumstances, like how much that sort of thing. Like there are lines there.
yeah. I I personally think that no one's going to take drugs. I personally think no one who would do drugs is going to do drugs if they're legal. And I personally think anyone who was doing drugs whilst they're legal will do them whilst they're legal. So I personally think all drugs should be legalized and people need to take responsibility for their own
Oh,
actions.
absolutely. I also would say that in certain circumstances, they should also be like safe places. So, like we have like a weed shop. It's basically like, hey, you can like smoke here. You know, make sure you don't make a mess, clean up after yourself, that sort of thing. That's even like what I've even been advocating for. Basically, like a clean, safe sort of
Hmm.
environment where they can do it, not be hypnotized. Because when you ever like just see it out in the open, you almost feel uncomfortable. But when it's like inside this type of contained environment and where it's like
Hmm.
safe and clean, like
Hmm.
a hospital, you feel as though like I'm in the right place.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
like have it match, have the place match in a way that
Hmm.
makes it feel fitting. Where's
Yeah, that's interesting. The correct aesthetics.
basically.
Yeah. Um, Mate, it's 2:30 a.m. in the morning here in Britain.
Sorry,
Um,
because
no issue, no issues. Would you like to stay in contact?
um I mean, I'm mainly just like live streaming about all of this anyway. Again, I'm not showing your face. I'm not showing. It's just recording the conversation, like
Oh, bloody
maybe.
hell. Okay. Oh, well, I don't mind. I'm not offended at all. But oh, is it live stream now or will it be going out later?
Basically like uploaded. I mean, if you
Oh,
want me to go like add this scene to my channel, I can if you want. But
uh,
honestly, it's I think like the conversation was really well. It was good.
oh, thank you. Well, I hope it'll be good content for your channel. I'm not offended or worried at all if you want to if you want to do that.
Again, I'm not showing your face or anything. It's just that the
No,
conversation I think is like, it was good.
ah,
Not like
that's
anything bad.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, you have to include my comment about your glasses or whatever, or you'd
Oh
be
yeah.
editing.
Don't worry. But I'll do that. That anyway, in terms of like
Um,
contact, are you talking about like a
yeah,
Twitter
yeah.
and
Why don't you tell
Instagram?
me? Yeah, why don't you tell me your YouTube channel and I'll look it into it. Is it a
Uh
YouTube
it's
channel or is it?
called it's just oops. This is the one.
Right, bio student.
Yeah.
Wow, bio student Omegle. Mate, that I put in bio. Maybe I need to put capitalize it.
Oh no, it's not like live stream like it's already uploaded. So I'm live streaming on Twitch, Twitch,
Uh,
Twitch, and then I'll download the VOD and then edit the clips.
oh, I think I found you. Do
Those
you
are
have
like
like?
older content videos though. You maybe
Is it
like what?
called bio? Is it called bio student 7810?
No, it is. Can I see like
A
the
place where
profile
I
pic?
discuss.
Because it should just be my face. It
Yeah,
should just be
yeah,
like,
yeah. You got a moustache, a sort of goatee type thing going, a bit
oh
like.
yeah, forgot about shaving that time. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one.
you got a pair of glasses. I think I'm your first subscriber actually.
Yeah, ain't no really much else.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, I don't really use Twitch, but I hope I've given you good content all the same, and all the
Yeah,
rest of it.
obviously, maybe have a conversation with you again some other time.
Yeah, that could be quite nice, couldn't it? Yeah, talk about other things. Maybe you'll watch Taxi Driver by then.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. What's your name, mate?
Huh?
What's your name?
Like my real name?
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say my name's Rory.
Oh, Daniel.
Daniel again. Sorry, I think did you mention it? I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm getting tired.
No, I never
What's the-
mentioned my name. I
Oh. Hmm?
I just like call myself a bio student. That's just.
Uh,
But
well,
overall, again, yeah. Get a
as,
relaxing sleep, man,
yeah.
and hope
Nice meeting you too.
everything goes well for you.
Oh, I will do. But thank you very much.
See you later. That's cool. That was nice. It was a nice conversation, I was kind of like afraid that maybe we would like have mass massive disagreements. But we did. In fact, I think like we more or less just Agreed. No, and I think we did well in terms of like discussing about many types of things. I'll be honest, that was a very pleasant, very nice conversation. Compared to most other conversations I usually have, which are awkward or somewhat weird because you've seen them all with the hi, hello, that sort of thing. Like, no, this one was really nice, and I still stand by my points on just how absurd the price for many things of medicine in general. It just feels price gouged out of so many people. It's just too expensive, and always raises the question: why is it this expensive if I went to like this other country and it's just much more cheaper? And sometimes they can't even do like the full thing. I was talking to one of my other classmates about, I think like he needed to go get like an endoscope like almost like throughout like his entire GI tract, like so like past his mouth, down his throat, inside his stomach, inside the gut. But the thing was that the hospital tried to get him to like, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do down the throat, this day, and then up the rectum from the other day. And it's like, well, why not just do it all in one? It's basically like they were. If it sounded like they were gonna try to double charge him for something that you can just do all in one. They try to like give different reasons, but it's like, well, I could just go here, and they'll just do it both, and for a far more cheaper price. Why are you doing this? And that, of course, is because that's just one study. That's just of a study. Sorry, not a study. That's just one case from some colleague I talked to. That's not like enough supporting evidence. But I would say, hey, if you hear enough of these stories, it basically becomes apparent that in the United States, it's almost basically it truly is expensive to be or it's detrimental. And it almost and also of course feels like it shouldn't be, especially when it comes to medicine. Medicine should not be expensive, I would say. In fact, it never should be this expensive. Medicine should not cost us tens of hundreds of dollars just for something that's like barely milliliters of the very substance you're working with. It's absurd. But I hate the way about how everything just feels price gouged in America. Hell, even my father made this statement like whatever you do, boy, don't get sick because he was changing jobs, which just sounded absurd. Like the idea in which don't get sick, don't have any sort of medical problems because we don't have insurance. That is absurd. That is ridiculous. If it was like just like that, imagine if I was in a medical emergency. Now, of course, you can go say, well, with Medicare and Medicaid, it will be covered, but at like what? How much? And how much would I also have to fight because I would still also have to go pay for other things? Like there's a reason why some people say like, okay, here's the bill, and they would always like say, okay, give me an itemized bill. Like patients at times would have to fight for an itemized bill to get something that just feels like it should not be this expensive. It basically feels like we're being price gouged for life-saving treatment, but just treatment. That's absurd. I hate that concept. And the thing is that the money is also there. The money is there, but it just feels like in America, it's just misappropriated, created, and it's designed that way, eh, especially from the medical industry. Yeah, from the medical industry and the insurance industry, like it's not unheard of for them to be the massive donors. They don't want universal health care. Why would they? Why would these pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies ever want price control. Why would they? Well, pharmaceutical. I don't know much about the insurance. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't cover. But then again, speaking of coverage, I just remembered about that. This is the biggest one. Even if you have medical insurance, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be fully covered. That idea is just fucking absurd. How many of you have ever watched the show Cyberpunk Edge Runners? Remember that first episode? And it's like if you don't have medical insurance, you're fucked. You're fucked. It's basically just that. You really are fucked. If you don't have medical insurance, you're not gonna make it. You're almost just guaranteed to die at that point. You're even lucky if you even get some treatment. And the way about how life-saving medicine can is basically said, "Oh, just speak with your wallet." Speak with your wallet. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? This is life-saving medicine, and I can't buy an alternative. And you can't go to the black market because there's no quality control. So where am I supposed to get it? Basically import it from another country? I mean, more or less sounds like that. There is such a thing known as medical tourism. Basically, people go from one region to another region in order to get something much cheaper because in that other region it is significantly cheaper. Insulin being the biggest one. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Is it illegal to import? Whoa, 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 hold on, hold on. In most circumstances, it is illegal for individuals to import FDA approved drugs from other countries for personal use. However, based on changes enacted by the MMA, now that's actually what's called MMA, personal importation of prescription drugs not been approved by the FDA for use in the US is permitted on a case by case basis. In most circumstances, it is illegal. This is from the FDA themselves. In most circumstances, it is illegal for individuals to import drugs into the United States for personal use. This is because drugs from other countries are available for purchase by individuals and have not been approved. Okay, that's fair. Fair. But that doesn't really answer my question as to if it was insulin, is it legal? Hang on, let me also. Okay. Okay, let me look at this one. Okay, this is healthline.com, leaving the country for affordable let me look at this one. Insulin buying covering from healthline.com by Mike Hoskins. National news has been covering people with diabetes trekking to Canada or Mexico in desperate search for affordable insulin. This certainly isn't a new phenomenon, but it's headlines more frequently in recent years because of the continuing insulin affordability crisis. At this point, no one really needs to ask why Americans are crossing borders to get their life sustaining insulin. That's quite clear. Given the skyrocketing in prices leading to rationing and even death, with, while drug prices are up to 80% lower outside the country. Rather, the media coverage is causing many to wonder why they hadn't turned to this option before, even amid about legality and safety. I mean, if you go to Canada for that much, I'm more concerned about the legality. The safety is feels like, well, I mean, you bought it from a pharmaceutical company, but bought it from somewhere where in Canada, hopefully with safety standards. I guess it really does. Moving on. It is in fact one of those practices that's technically illegal, but has been decriminalized with a general policy exemption for individuals. That means for many years, the authorities, in case the FDA and the Customs and Border Patrol, have allowed citizens re-entering the country to bring limited amount of medication needed for their personal use. Personally, I know it's possible to. I know it's possible to bring insulin for individual use because I've done it. I've driven to Canada from my home in Michigan on several occasions and purchased the insulin I need. On my experiences that have varied from pharmacy to pharmacy, I've not encountered an issue that thwarted my mission. Clearly, I'm not alone. But the fact that you have to go across the border to buy insulin is fucking absurd. And that's even assuming you can drive all the way there for the insulin. And they even mention limited. Now, I could somewhat understand because insulin does have a certain shelf life. But even then, at least I assume it has a certain shelf life. Even then, it still just sounds absolutely fucking absurd that someone has to drive across the border for insulin. Why? How is this just never mind. I already talked about this enough. I'm just moving on. This is just fucked up. Imagine that. Someone has to go across the border. Not in their own country. Go across the border into another country because your country has fucked up prices for life-saving medicine. It should not cost this much. In fact, why does it cost this? Why does many things cost so much? It's basically like, hey, yeah, it doesn't really like cost us much to produce and even ship. Then why does it cost you so much? Then why are you charging so much for it? Because money. Like, well, when will you lower the price? Never. The fucking the system. I've always been talking about this. And honestly, I'm starting to get hungry. You know what? I think I'm done with conversations because I'm basically, well, not only am I actually tired, I'm also frustrated because bringing up this conversation has truly angered me. I'm angry. I really am angry. And I'm hungry, so now I'm hangry. But again, this shit, this should not be a thing. This is absurd. No one, no American, no person in America should have to make a choice between living or having a place to live. That is disgusting. It is a disgrace. I know I'm getting emotional, I'm getting frustrated, but this, as a person going into biology, it infuriates to have to see Americans have to make choices to live or have a place to live, a choice to put food on the table or pay for medicine. It is disgusting. It is infuriating to know that someone in this country has to make choices like this. It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace to this nation. It is a disgrace to the idea of America. It is a disgrace to say this nation is great. When people, American people, can't afford life-saving medicine. That should not be an American choice. That should not be a choice. Wait. But in this country, it is a choice. A choice you are forced to make. It is a disgrace. A fucking disgrace.